Offers degrees in criminal justice and paralegal studies that can help you advance your career. Turn your reason into reality. Visit national.edu/myreason.
Did you know pain is caused by aggravated nerves? Aspercreme with lidocaine is revolutionary relief. In just minutes, it desensitizes your aggravated nerves to block pain with no odor or irritation. Aspercreme with lidocaine. Relieve the nerves, stop the pain.
Not cleaning between your teeth can cause anything as minor as bad breath to as major as gum disease. I don't think bad breath is very minor, though.
Use Gum Brand for healthy gums, soft picks, Proxibrush cleaners, flossers, and dental floss.
Your gums matter.
Are you looking for a sport utility with capability, comfort, and technology at a price that everyone can afford? Then check out the 2016 Escape. It can tow up to 3,500 pounds and is available with four-wheel drive. Sailbird, Magic Stick, please. Rusty X price $18,500 or buy for $0 down, $259 a month. 2016 Edge, Sailbird, Magic Stick, please. Buy for $24,500 or $0 down, only $349 per month. Hey, that's not even funny. Call, come see me, or check us out online at rustyxford.com.
Gosh, a lady hit us right in the rear end.
Hurt in a car wreck? Call us and we'll take care of everything.
I think I got a good settlement.
I'm attorney Gary Patterson, the good guy.
Gary, the good guy, got me through it.
Call 687-2400.
From Storm Team 12, a severe weather alert.
Good afternoon. Our first tornado warning of the day now in effect for portions of Sumner County. We don't have anything confirmed with as far as tornado on the ground, but a storm that has been rotating now for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And this will include the Conway Springs area. Actually, maybe just to the south of there, it does include Mayfield. And as we bring up the information from the National Weather Service that's just coming down in the last couple of minutes, again, tornado warning till 4 o'clock. Does include Argonia, Mayfield, and Milan. We're looking at a storm here that's in the southwest corner of Sumner County, and it is moving to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. We'll take off the hail indicators there, and we'll actually zoom in a little bit tighter, and then eventually here we'll put a storm track on it as we watch a storm that once again has been rotating now for at least 15, if not 20 minutes. You can see the circulation being indicated here by the computer. This is happening about 8 miles to the west of Caldwell, and the storm moving to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. Okay, yeah, we definitely have a wall cloud. We do know of that with this storm, but nothing as far as a tornado on the ground. Certainly a situation that could change very rapidly with the kind of environment that we're looking at today. The storm, once again, 8 miles to the west of Caldwell, prompting a tornado warning, and this is moving to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. As you watch the radar in motion with that continued northeast movement, it looks like it will be passing to the west of Wellington. Wellington's kind of on the eastern fringe of the tornado warning that was drawn up by the National Weather Service office. And even if we don't get a tornado, one of the things that we're really concentrating on today is the possibility of very large hail, perhaps up to 3 inches in diameter. So you talk about a hailstone that could be larger than baseball size with this storm that's going to be passing through the western sections of Sumner County. In fact, we'll bring on the hail indicators because that's going to be a strong likelihood with these storms today. And you can see just to the south, this is to the west of Caldwell again. Large hail being indicated by the Doppler radar. So that is definitely something that we'll have to continue to monitor for. Once again, radar indicating rotation. We have a lot of storm spotters and a lot of chasers out there today, keeping a watchful eye on this storm in southwestern portions of Sumner County. But for right now, this is a tornado warning with strong rotation being indicated by radar. Warning will take us until 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can see just to the west of Caldwell, that storm is moving to the northeast. We'll back the radar out just a little bit, put a storm track on this cell moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So the storms do have some fairly substantial movement to them today. Close to 30 with this storm here in Sumner County. It's possible storms could move at close to 40. And our storm track here taking it northeast at 30 miles per hour. Looks like we're going to bring it closer to the Mayfield area at 3:43 and perhaps maybe toward the Belle Plaine area just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Let you see the radar in motion and watch it follow our storm track there. Looks like it would keep it just to the west of Wellington, but these situations can change, and we saw this on Sunday when the storm looked like it was going to miss Salina to the north and west, and then the storm took a turn to the right and eventually went right over the city. But based on our track here, looks like the storm is going to be very close to the Wellington area, maybe miss Wellington just a little bit to the west. Very close call, but within the tornado warning, you need to be seeking shelter now. That means getting below ground if at all possible. That's always your safest bet in a tornado warning. If you don't have a basement, you can't get below ground, that's not an option for you. You'll find a safe shelter by getting into a closet or a bathroom. You want to be as far away from windows and doors as you possibly can, and we always encourage people to put as many walls between you and the tornado as you can, because that adds more protection from anything that's flying around in a tornado. Once again, this is our first tornado warning of the day, in effect until 4 o'clock this afternoon for western sections of Sumner County. Does not include the city of Wellington, but it's a very, very close call there with the storm tracking to the northeast. It looks like on that current movement, it looks like it may miss Wellington just a little bit to the west. Merrill?
Hey, I just wanted to show a little bit closer up look at this thunderstorm complex, and also show you the difference between what I call the regular radar, the reflectivity of the Doppler radar, and then we'll take a look at those Doppler winds indicated there. And now you can see that little finger sticking out of that thunderstorm complex. That is the area that we are most concerned with right now, and I'm going to draw a circle around that just to show you as a space keeper. Okay, that's where we're looking at. That's the area of concern. Now let's go. Well, okay, see, it's already moved on. This is not the best what we call a couplet, where we see the greens and the reds very bright next to each other, showing lots of those reds but very little of the greens. But there have been a few little green pixels in there over the last 15 or 20 minutes. So that's the area of concern right now. And you can see it's off to the west-northwest of Caldwell, everything moving on to the northeast. So again, as Ross has been saying, off to the east of Argonia, over toward the Milan area, and then up toward Conway Springs. Although Conway Springs officially not in that tornado warning at the moment, we're certainly going to keep a very close watch if that storm continues with the intensity that it has right now. Ross?
All right, Merrill, let's just kind of reset the stage here, because we've got a lot of thunderstorms starting to blossom over the area, and it's quite possible that within the next 20 to 30 minutes we could be looking at a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Sedgwick County. You can see this is part of a line of storms that's rapidly developing this afternoon over western and northwestern sections of Oklahoma, right up into south central Kansas. Wichita, the sky's beginning to darken as storms come in from the southwest. There's possible that we may be looking at maybe some dime-sized hail with the storm that's just to the east of the Viola area. Now you can see a new severe thunderstorm warning now being issued for Sedgwick County. This will include the city of Wichita, because we are watching some rapidly developing storms here coming in from the southwest. Now keep in mind, this entire area of south central Kansas is included in a tornado watch, so the environment is certainly capable of rotating thunderstorms. Even though we think our primary threat today is going to be some incredibly large hail, we can't rule out the and we're showing an estimated arrival time into Clonmel at 3:38, Goddard at 3:50. Could get maybe as far north as Mays at about 4:15 this afternoon, into the Riverview area at 4:21. This is not a tornado warned storm. This is a thunderstorm that would be capable for right now of producing at least quarter-size hail, but there is so much humidity in the atmosphere today, kind of an explosive environment, the storm rapidly developing, that there is a strong possibility that this storm may produce even larger hail than quarter size. But this warning is the most recent one issued from the Weather Service office here in Wichita. You can see that northeast movement at close to 30 miles per hour as the storm comes in from the southwest. This is the one that's been near Conway Springs now for about the last 10 minutes or so. So that's the situation in Sedgwick County. Severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for the city of Wichita. Most of the western part of the county anticipating some large hail here. And then let's go back to the storm down there in western sections of Sumner County. We do have a news crew down there. Our own Lauren Seabrook has been in Wellington for the last couple of hours, so we do have some of our own trained spotters in the field watching this situation here. At last check, what we were dealing with is a rotating wall cloud. Now keep in mind, we're sometimes using a lot of technical terms. That's a lowering of the cloud base, and you can have a rotating wall cloud that never produces a tornado. So even though we're talking about a rotating wall cloud, it's not a guarantee that the storm will produce a tornado, but that's one of the precursors that we look for in these types of situations. So lowering of the cloud base, rotating, that's the report that we got, and we'll just have to wait and see if the storm actually does produce a tornado. But with the kind of environment that we're in today, there's a lot of wind in the atmosphere, a lot of humidity too, so a lot of ingredients coming together that could favor perhaps maybe an isolated tornado developing out of this thunderstorm in the western sections of Sumner County. This tornado warning, by the way, in effect until 4 o'clock this afternoon. It does not include Wellington, but areas to the south of Conway Springs, to the east of Argonia, to the northwest of Caldwell, This little notch showing up right in through here would be the rotating part of the thunderstorm that could be responsible for perhaps maybe an isolated tornado. Merrill was pointing this out earlier. We bring in the wind mode of Doppler radar. We don't have anything that really stands out as far as something that would grab our attention, but at least with the environmental conditions we're up against today, there could be a tornado produced out of the storm, even though it may not look that impressive on the radar. Just something that we'll have to keep an eye on. And that's where the storm chasers and the spotters come in quite handy, because ground truth sometimes helps us out where radar leaves off. So this, again, a tornado warning for western sections of Sumner County. Don't have anything confirmed on the ground, but a rotating storm. We've got a lot of hail being produced by this storm as well. And as we bring in the potential hail swath that we're looking at here, now we're getting certainly some ramp up in the colors, indicating potential for at least golf ball size hail with the storm to the northwest of Caldwell. So even if we don't get a tornado out of this storm, the environmental conditions we're looking at today would certainly favor some incredible hail with some of these storms. I understand we have Lance Ferguson joining us now. Let's go over to Rodney standing by at the chaser desk. He's monitoring the feeds coming in today. Rodney?
Well, Ross, we've been monitoring, yes, all of our chaser feeds that are out there in the field right now. We've been watching that storm moving through the southwestern parts of Sumner County. We've got a number of our chasers in that area, one of those being Lance Ferguson, who is watching that storm from the western parts of Sumner County. Lance, remind us again exactly where you're at, and tell us what you are seeing now at this point.
Rodney, I'm currently located at 80th and Mayfield, which is basically 2 miles north of Corbin, Kansas. My stream is facing towards the southwest. As I've been driving down here, there have been a couple of occasions where we'll see a lowering. Sometimes it will be organized, or one time it was very well organized, another time it's kind of ragged. Right now, the lowerings that we've got are somewhat ragged. They're not very well put together. I believe the rotation part of the storm, if it still exists down there, it may be a little bit farther to the southwest of where I'm looking. I'm going to have to reposition myself to be able to access that. At this location right now, we just have periodically rain. Haven't encountered any hail yet. I believe that's off to my northwest. So as of right now, I do have a bit of a lowering as I am talking to you. I'm zooming in on it now. It doesn't have a lot of rotation. It does not look very well organized, but it does have a pretty strong lowering coming down. I will try to zoom in, get in here a little bit closer, and see if I can't find out what this thing's going to do.
Yeah, Lance, you're definitely in a good spot there with the relative motion there of the storm. That should be passing right off to your west. You're going to be in a really good spot there to continue to watch that part of the storm there in Sumner County as it's moving off to the northeast. So Lance Ferguson there watching right now from near 80th and Mayfield in parts of western and southwestern Sumner County, watching the little lowering that he's seeing with that part of the storm, which has prompted that tornado warning. Again, that's a tornado warning for parts of southwestern Sumner County until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Ross?
All right, thanks very much, Rodney. There you can see some live pictures coming out of Sumner County of that storm that does have a tornado warning with it. That circulation now is just to the east, it looks like, of Milan. But let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer here with the storm in portions of western sections of Sumner County. This, again, if you're just joining our coverage, our first tornado warning of the day on an atmosphere on a day when we think there will be additional thunderstorms, perhaps producing tornadoes, but large hail is something we're expecting to be widespread with a lot of storms that pop up today. So once again, as we watch the thunderstorm here in motion, continuing that northeasterly movement at about 30 miles per hour, looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning now being issued for areas to the west of Argonia for this storm that is continuing to move up to the northeast. So definitely a very dangerous situation that's unfolding there. As we back the radar out just a little bit, we can see, and I believe we now have our radio partners over at KFDI joining us live on the air too. So anybody that may be out driving around, we'll try to set the stage for you, as you may, of course, can't be seeing what we're showing on television. We've got isolated storms popping up right now from just southwest of Wichita down into western sections of Sumner County. The western Sumner County storm does have a tornado warning with it. The storm in Sedgwick County is still well to the southwest of downtown Wichita, but with a rapid movement to the northeast. We We anticipate that this storm could be coming into downtown Wichita within the next 20 minutes or so. The possibility for some quarter-size hail the way things look right now on the radar, but there is a tremendous amount of humidity in the air today, a lot of fuel for these storms. So as they continue to race to the northeast, we expect that there will be some intensification with the storm in Sedgwick County. So the way things look right now on radar, it looks like quarter-size hail, but that could quickly change as the storms continue to evolve and move to the northeast. The warning for Sedgwick County till 4:15. Once again, it's a small cluster that's east of Iola, well to the southwest of downtown Wichita. This will be coming into the Schulte area within the next 10 minutes, and then eventually impacting west Wichita and perhaps downtown Wichita in, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes. And when it gets here, be prepared for large hail. That is going to be our primary threat through the rest of the afternoon, right into the evening hours too. And then the second storm that we're following behind that first one in Sedgwick County is the tornado warn storm in western sections of Sumner County. We have not been able to confirm any kind of tornadic development, but we've had several reports of rotating wall clouds. And once again, that is a lowering of the cloud base beneath the thunderstorm, and sometimes you will see tornadoes develop out of wall clouds. Not a guarantee. Even with a rotating wall cloud, that does not necessarily mean we're going to get a tornado out of the Sumner County storm, but it is something we continue to very closely monitor for there in western sections of Sumner County. Merrill standing by with more.
Ross, we haven't received any new information as far as any confirmed reports of large hail, and certainly no tornadic activity, but we are seeing a little bit better indication on the Doppler radar. In fact, let me see if we can even get in a little bit closer on the storms here to the north of Caldwell right now. And here's the area that I'm most concerned with. We've got green moving toward the radar. This is the Wichita National Weather Service radar. Reds are away, and it's that area. Oh. Let me see if we can get this back out a little bit. There we go. That's the area. Let me get my pencil going here, and right in through here. That's where we're most concerned right now, because we've got the reds and the greens almost next to each other. They're not quite together. So it's a broad rotation at this point, not the type of rotation that you would expect with a tornado. Now let's switch over to the reflectivity. And we still have that little finger sticking down there. Don't know if I'd exactly call it a hook, but let's just call it that for simplicity's sake. So we've got the two things that are in the same position on the radar. That's the area of rotation. We know there have been wall clouds associated with it, but remember, just because you have a wall cloud doesn't mean that a tornado is going to form from that storm system, but you still have to take cover if you are in that area where you see the red outline here over a good chunk of Sumner County. Ross?
All right, thanks, Merrill. If you're just now coming across our coverage this afternoon, we're watching isolated storms that have fired up in the last hour over south central Kansas down into northern Oklahoma. The leading edge here, a thunderstorm now into portions of Sedgwick County. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 4:15, anticipating large hail with the storm coming in from the southwest. Now, there is a tornado watch. That means conditions are favorable for thunderstorms to produce tornadoes, but at least in the short term, and when I say that, we're really talking about the next 30 to 45 minutes, the storm coming in from the southwest capable of producing large hail. Now, this tornado warned storm down here in western sections of Sumner County is one that we'll continue to monitor because it does have a tornado warning with it, and we could see a tornado develop at any time, even though we have not had anything so far. Now, this line of storms continues down into northern sections of Oklahoma, and look at this, we also have new severe weather breaking out now across northeastern sections of Kansas. Looks like we have some additional warnings popping up kind of on the edge of our jurisdiction. So let's zoom into northeast Kansas and see what we have going on. Looks like extreme northern Lyon County under a tornado warning there, and then a lot of these severe thunderstorms firing up just kind of on the edge of our viewing area. But this whole northeast part of Kansas is definitely one area of the state, just one of several that we're watching for additional severe storms and the potential that we could see rotating thunderstorms, perhaps producing large hail and some isolated tornadoes. Looks like we've got some new storms starting to fire up now in parts of Morris County, so we'll need to keep an eye on that. But as we go back to the south, right into south central Kansas, where we continue to see some very rapid thunderstorm development this afternoon. We're just trying to give you as much time to prepare for these hail-producing storms. As we go back into south central Kansas, the leading edge now coming into the southwest side of Wichita here. This would be, of course, the 235 loop around the west side of Wichita. That leading edge of the storm now coming into the Schulte area. Within the next 10 to 20 minutes, I would expect we'll probably start to see the rain picking up in intensity and, of course, large hail. That's really the reason why that this warning was issued for portions of Sedgwick County. Let's move the view just a little bit more, and then we'll put a storm track on it. We'll update the information here as the storm begins to get a little bit closer to Wichita. And our storm track here, most of these are going to be moving at 30 to 40 miles per hour. So from the core of the storm, moving northeast at 30, we have an estimated arrival time into Schulte here before too long. Within the next 10 minutes, it will be there. Mays at 4:05 and into KWCH at 4:18. Based on what we're looking at on the radar, I would anticipate that we're probably getting some hailstones out of this that are smaller than golf ball right now, but this storm has been showing some intensification in the last couple scans of the radar. Here you can see the hail swath coming in to the south part of Wichita, and it will only be a matter of time before that storm impacts West Wichita, heads up toward the Mays area. So be ready. Large hail quite likely with this storm as it continues to move in from the southwest. So this is just one of several storms, once again, that we're watching for you right now. Of course, we do continue with that tornado warning for portions of western Sumner County. This is just a very large thunderstorm covering the northwest corner now of Sumner County, and we still have that rotating area, the notch that shows up there on the radar. We'll zoom back in just a little tighter on that part of the storm because we still have some pretty strong indications there. And just to give you some idea of what we're looking at from Caldwell, we're talking about an area that, at least to the rotating part of the storm, that is from Caldwell to the northwest, about 8 miles, and you can see the rotation showing up very nicely. Storm might be organizing actually a little bit, and when they do that, sometimes shortly thereafter, they can produce tornadoes. It's not a guarantee, but over here is Mayfield, so the rotation from Mayfield back to the southwest, about 9 or 10 miles. So we've got the radar kind of zoomed in here on the rotating part of the storm that may produce a tornado. This is an environment that is certainly supportive of additional severe storms. The entire south central Kansas area and really most of central and eastern Kansas under a tornado watch because we've got a lot of ingredients coming together that will favor at least some isolated tornadoes as we make our way through the rest of this Tuesday afternoon. Rodney Price standing by at the Chaser desk.
Yeah, Ross, we're watching Lance Ferguson's feed. He has indicated here in the last little bit that we're seeing a little bit more of a lowering taking place with that part of the storm you were just describing there. We're going to punch up some of his video this afternoon and take that and show you what he is seeing there from Sumner County. Again, at last check, he was near 80th and Mayfield Road in the western parts of Sumner County. And what you can see there on your screen there, we're looking at a rather large lowering that's taking place. The Weather Service indicating to us that they are starting to see a little bit more of an increase in the rotation with that storm. So that's why the tornado threat is going to continue with that. But again, this is Storm Team 12 Chaser Lance Ferguson. He is right now about 8 miles to the northeast of Caldwell. He's just off to the west of Perth, and his vantage point, he is looking off to the west, and you can see that substantial lowering, especially in the western part or the left-hand side of your screen, I should say, as you see that dark mass of clouds there. They're just beneath the storm there. As you can see now driving down the road, you can see that lowering there, right there above the roadway and in the distance there. A little bit of trees in his way. Lance is going to maneuver just a bit so he can get a little bit better vantage point there. Indicated to us that he could not see any kind of tornado or anything like that with that storm, but certainly when we've got the rotation with the storm that we're seeing on Doppler radar and we're seeing these lowerings taking place, it's a good bet that we'll continue with this tornado warning. Again, it's going to be in effect for another 22 minutes until the top of the hour. We're going to continue to watch Lance's feed there and let you know if we see anything new with that. Right now, let's go back to the studio, guys.
All right, thanks, Rodney. Let the chasers be the eyewitness accounts for you today. Don't try to go out and do the spotting on your own, especially if you're untrained, because you can really complicate the scenario for law enforcement. If we do end up with a tornado that does damage, we really don't need to be congesting the roads with a lot of chasers and spotters, because there are already plenty of those out today watching the storms for us. So we'll continue to check in with Rodney at the Chaser desk. Just recapping what we have going on as we get just now past 3:30 here on Tuesday afternoon. We've got severe weather just now starting to to unfold over south central Kansas. The storms really started to fire up about an hour and 15 minutes ago. We got our first thunderstorms that developed over northern Oklahoma, and you can see as we zoom out, we're dealing with basically, let's call it 4 different thunderstorms right now. We've got one just now coming into Wichita. This is our tornado warned storm in western Sumner County, an additional severe thunderstorm following in behind it. And then we've got another thunderstorm that goes down just to the south of Alfalfa County in northern sections of Oklahoma. And as we watch the radar in motion here, everything moving northeast at close to 30, 35 miles per hour. So as we zoom back in here into south central Kansas, the tornado warning that we have is in effect for western Sumner County. That will take us until 4 o'clock today. We have not been able to confirm a tornado with the particular storm that has a warning with it, but it is a very dangerous storm and it has been rotating now for quite some time. So bring up to the current time, you can see that big storm just to the south of Argonia and just to the south and east of Milan, and that storm tracking northeast at 30 miles per hour. As you watch the radar once again, that storm continuing to push to the north. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Sedgwick County for the potential, and I believe we do have some possibilities there for hail a little bit larger than 1 inch in diameter. I can tell you with this storm down into portions of Sumner County, we've also had some pretty large hail reported with it too. So let's bring on the hail indicators and show you what we've had reported to us this afternoon. Here's a look, and that reporter coming in via Spotter Network, just one of many ways we get the information into the storm center near Milan. We had a report of hail that was just a little bit larger than $half size. So we're dealing with some very large hail with this storm. It's rotating on the back part of it, as we could see from Lance Ferguson's video just a couple minutes ago. And with that northeasterly movement, there is a possibility that in 45 minutes to an hour, this storm will be moving up into portions of Sedgwick County. Will it have a tornado warning with it when it gets here? We simply don't know, because these storms have a mind of their own, and we can definitely see some changes in evolution with them as they continue to move through this area this afternoon. Just kind of taking you back up into Sedgwick County as we watch the severe thunderstorm warning continue for Sedgwick County. You can now see the storm getting into the city as we speak. It looks like the leading edge of the light rain just now starting to get in closer to the 235 loop. West Wichita, you probably have about 10 minutes before the rain's going to be picking up, if it hasn't done so already. The hail's not far behind, and that will be coming across West Wichita here shortly. If you're in Mays, if you're in Goddard, be ready. The storm is coming in from the southwest. It looks like East Wichita is probably going to be spared by this first storm, but there is a strong possibility for very large hail as the storm continues to come in from the southwest. Now, over on the far side of your picture, you're looking at live pictures coming out of Sumner County, where we have the tornado warning with it, and it looks to me like that may be a little bit of a wall cloud that we're looking at there. Kind of tough to tell from this viewpoint here, but
funnel cloud is reported by spotters about 2 minutes ago.
Okay, so we do have a funnel cloud reported with that storm in Sumner County, and that's really the first reports, other than the rotating wall cloud, that we've had since the warning was initially issued earlier for western portions of Sumner County. And now as we take this full screen, it looks to me like this is probably our wall cloud here. And again, we've had a couple reports of funnels. That this may be a funnel over here. You know, it's possible when you get a wall cloud like this. I have seen tornadoes come out the sides of wall clouds before, but this to me looks like our lowering right in through here. So that'll be the part of the storm that we'll certainly have to keep a close watch on, even though, at least for right now, don't really see anything touching the ground, so we'll need to keep a close watch on that. Our weather partners at KFDI rejoining our coverage now as we continue with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the city of Wichita, much of Sedgwick County, and the environment today certainly very favorable of large hail. And we've had a couple reports trickling in this afternoon of some of that larger hail. Been a little while, but these storms are now well to the northeast of Viola. And one of the most recent reports of large hail that we had coming out of the southern part of the county and northern sections of Sumner County would indicate these storms are definitely producing some hail larger than 1 inch in diameter. And we've had a report to the east of Viola of almost 1 inch hail, that coming in just a little after 3:30 this afternoon. So as these storms move into West Wichita, and they're going to do that within the next 10 minutes, be ready for at least quarter-sized hail. It would not shock us at all to see some hailstones maybe up to $half size. and that storm now covering a big chunk of West Wichita. As we watch this for the TV viewers and for those that are out driving around today listening to our coverage on the radio, this is the first storm that's coming in from northern Oklahoma. There are several more lined up. We have a big storm down in Sumner County and other storms in northern Oklahoma, but this is the first storm that's now crossing Sedgwick County, and we've got heavy rainfall. We're about to see some of that larger hail impact Wichita, especially West Wichita. Once again, quarter-size hail the way things look right now, but it's not that much of a stretch that we could be looking at some half-dollar size hail as the storm continues to move to the north. Looks like the leading edge of some of the rain now getting into Mays as well. And we're probably going to start seeing some rain in KWCH too. But the larger hail right now, the way we see it on radar, looks like it's going to be favored over West Wichita, Mays, and eventually getting up toward the Valley Center area if the storm continues to maintain its current intensity. And we believe that it will, given the environment that we're dealing with today. As far as East Wichita is concerned, you might see a little rain, but certainly the core of this severe thunderstorm looks like it will continue to move through western portions of the city of Wichita and of course western portions of Sedgwick County as well. As we zoom the radar out again, talking for our TV viewers and for those listening to us on the radio, this is part of a big batch of storms that continues to develop over south central Kansas. We still have the tornado warning underway for western and northwestern sections of Sumner County. The rotation, it looks to be like it's about 3 to 4 miles to the southeast of the Milan area, a storm that continues to rotate very rapidly, and it has produced at least one funnel cloud that we are aware of, with that storm tracking to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. The warning, by the way, for Sumner County continues until 4 o'clock, so 15 more minutes there, and that storm potentially in the next 30 minutes could be coming up into south central sections of Sedgwick County. We do need to send it over to Rodney Price. He's got additional information at the Chaser desk.
Yeah, Ross, so we're watching Lance Ferguson's feed there. He continues to be parked there in the western parts of Sumner County, just west of Perth. And what you're seeing on his video continues to be kind of a rather fragmented but rather large lowering, a little bit of a wall cloud that continues to show up with the storm there. As you look at here right now live as it takes place, you can see he's looking off kind of to the west and northwest right now at that particular business end of the storm. And we've heard from Lance and also a couple of other chasers in the area that the winds are starting to pick up just a little bit there, kind of inflowing into that storm. You can kind of see there right across the road from Lance as we have some of that wheat right there that's planted there. You can see a little bit of that waving just a bit as the breeze and all that moisture is making its way into the storm and helping to produce the severe weather. I'm sorry, say that again, guys? 10-4. So, yeah, we're watching that. You can see right there actually to the little bit of a, I don't want to call it a funnel yet, but definitely looking at something there on the left-hand side of the screen. Oh, the video jumped there. You can see a little bit of a lowering there right now to the left of the live indicator right there. And so that's an area we're going to continue to watch there as that storm makes its way through the western parts of Sumner County. Again, Lance's position right now, he is currently close to K49 to the west of Perth. And we've got somebody on the phone here. Tell me again, guys. We have Lance Ferguson now on the telephone. Lance, give us your location again and tell us what you're seeing there with your video. Lance Ferguson, are you there?
I'm here, Rodney. I am now located about 9 miles straight north of Caldwell. I'm looking to the northwest. This lowering, this wall cloud is just a couple of miles to my northwest. And there have been a couple of lowerings where it actually looks like it may be a funnel, but there's not a lot of motion that is circling around the bottom side of it, which indicates to me that it may be struggling to get its act together. I'm going to continue to stay on it. This is a lowering. There is rotation at the wall cloud. There is some rotation going on with this, but there has not been any confirmed tornadoes that I can see from my vantage point. She's been trying, but she hasn't been successful yet. I'll continue to keep watching as this thing moves to the north-northeast.
Thank you, Lance. That's Storm Team 12 chaser Lance Ferguson. Again, kind of broad rotation that's showing up on HD Super Doppler radar this afternoon. And at times we're seeing some lowerings, a little bit of a wall cloud. We have had those reports of a funnel or two, but so far the storm has just not had enough energy quite yet to produce a tornado that has descended there from the clouds and make contact with the ground. So Lance Ferguson in a great spot there off to the east and slightly southeast of that lowering/wall cloud. He's going to continue to watch that part of the storm, and we'll give you any additional information as they come in here to the chaser desk. Ross?
Okay, thanks very much, Rodney. We do want to give you a view from our downtown sky camera, just kind of setting everything up, the view here in Wichita with darkening skies coming in from the west. And there'll be a lot of concerned individuals. Certainly, you might be concerned with the tornado watch that was issued earlier today. The storm that's moving across Wichita right now really doesn't have enough rotation to produce a tornado. So we're not that concerned about tornadic development out of what we see in the city of Wichita right now. So a lot of darkening skies, a lot of heavy rainfall over here on the right part of the picture. There's bound to be at least some quarter-size hail falling with this storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning with it that will take us until 4:15. But I can tell you that everything we've looked at on the radar would not suggest any kind of tornadic development in the city of Wichita or Sedgwick County. A very different story as we check out the situation down in Sumner County, and that is the storm that does have a tornado warning with it. It is moving to the northeast, and it's not a guarantee, first of all, that the storm will ever produce a tornado. It's also not a guarantee that as the storm continues to move to the northeast, that they'll issue a tornado warning for Sedgwick County. But we want you to be ready because the environment today, there is just a lot of humidity. And if you've been outside today, you've been feeling that. A very warm, humid atmosphere is just one of the key ingredients in getting these intense thunderstorms to fire up, and we have definitely had that going on today. We'll bring you up to the current time. It has been a while, and with some new scans coming in here on the Doppler radar, we are going to show you what we have as far as the wind mode. We have seen some increases in circulation. Once again, not a guarantee that the storm's going to produce a tornado, but we're talking about an area that's just 2 to 3 miles to the southeast of Milan, and that's going to continue to move to the northeast. So as we switch back over to the radar, and you can definitely still see there is a little bit of a notch showing up to the east of Milan. Let's go back to Rodney at the chaser desk.
That storm there as Lance Ferguson is watching here. In fact, we've got Lance on the phone right now. Lance, what are you seeing there? It looks like a little bit of a funnel, perhaps?
Yes, as I was dialing in, the funnel started forming. It came down about halfway down to the ground. Was very well defined and sharp. Now, since I've been trying to reach in, it has gone back up a little ways. However, it's still trying to work its magic here. I'm zooming in on it with the stream. But yes, we do have a funnel. It's off to my northwest of my location. If you're in the areas of Mayfield and Anson, you might want to go ahead and take shelter on this. I do have a funnel. If I got a little bit closer to this, it would probably be could possibly be a touchdown on this, Rodney, but I don't see any debris or anything coming up from the bottom side of it yet. But it's definitely a funnel. I'm going to go ahead and try to move a little bit north and get a little closer to it to see if she does anything. Yeah,
Lance, it's definitely hard to see from your vantage point there with some trees there in the distance. They're kind of blocking the ground level, but I can tell you that that Mayfield, the city of Mayfield, they are sounding their storm sirens at this time. That's a good precautionary tone there because we do have that little funnel there showing up right there in the middle of Lance Ferguson's feed right now. That is a funnel on the air right now, watching that storm there in the western parts of Sumner County. He is, again, he's going to be making his way north along K49 to keep up with that part of the storm there. It has a rotation with it. Again, storm sirens now sounding in Mayfield because of this funnel cloud we're seeing now, and that tornado warning continues until the top of the hour. Guys?
Okay, thanks very much. Again, that video coming in live on the air from Lance Ferguson, just one of many trained eyes that will be down there in Sumner County keeping an eye on what's going on here as the storm continues to move to the northeast. First of all, let me show you the radar in motion as we watch things progress over the last hour, continuing with that northeast movement. Now, officially, the tornado warning for Sumner County goes until 4 o'clock, but based on the fact that we have now been able to confirm and we've watched it live on the air, funnel clouds being reported with that storm, wouldn't surprise me to see an extension of that warning past 4 o'clock as the storm continues to move to the north. We're still talking about several miles, though, before the storm gets into Sedgwick County. So let me bring you up to the current time, and let's talk about the distance that we have between that rotation and Sedgwick County. So here's our rotation to the east of Milan, and we're talking easily 15, 16 miles, the rotating part of the storm from the southern edge of Sedgwick County. So if the new warning comes out around 4 o'clock and includes southern Sedgwick County, that wouldn't be a surprise. We have to accommodate for the fact that recently we have seen and had reports now of funnel clouds reported with the storm, but also the circulation has been getting a little bit stronger. As we watch the live pictures there, as we keep the radar up, you can watch there on the side of your screen the pictures coming in from Lance Ferguson. Dark, ominous-looking skies. We saw the funnel cloud just a couple minutes ago. Those are some of the most recent reports that we've had, too. And once again, as Rodney pointed out, Mayfield sounding the sirens with this funnel cloud reported in the area. This tornado warning, again, does include a big chunk of northwestern sections of Sumner County. Storm continuing to push to the northeast. Now, we've had some merger going on. A storm coming up from the south is merging with this storm just to the south and east of Conway Springs. And we saw this happen on Sunday, too. And what it does is it basically causes some interference with what's been going on with the tornado-warned storm. But oftentimes when you have storm merger like that, it may take a little while, but the storm can sometimes reorganize, and then maybe we get additional wall clouds, maybe we see additional funnels. We'll just have to wait and see and monitor the evolution of that storm as it continues to move to the north. But severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Sedgwick County till 4:15. Heavy rainfall, some hail. The only tornado warning in our viewing area now, northwestern Sumner County till 4 o'clock. Merrill?
Yeah, Russ, and we want to take you in just a little bit closer on the storm and kind of the storm. Okay, just getting in a new tornado warning because the one that has been in effect, let's see, we're at 3:55 right now, will be expiring in just a few minutes. So let me just very quickly show you the area of concern. You can see this little inward notch without any rainfall to the northwest of Perth. That's the area of concern. As we switch over to the wind mode, you can see green toward the radar, reds away from the radar, and there are some much stronger indications now that we've got some stronger winds developing with that storm, and obviously that is the area of concern right now. And for folks that are near the Milan area and then eastward over to Mayfield, if you haven't already, you need to take your tornado precautions right now. This very dangerous storm is headed in your area as we speak. So get to the lowest level of the building that you are in. You want to find a room as much in the center of the building as possible and stay away from windows and doors, anything with glass associated with it, because again, this is a very dangerous storm. Now let me clear off the screen and let's shift our view so we can see how far north that new tornado warning goes. And it looks like it stops right at the Sedgwick-Sumner County line, but it does go up into the very northwest corner of Cowley County, because you can see Mulvane is right on the very northeast corner of that new tornado warning. So folks in that area from around Milan and Mayfield, and then northeastward from there, and let's just, include Belle Plaine, even though technically Belle Plaine is about a mile to the east of the tornado warning exactly. When there's a warning, even if you're close to the warned area, you want to take cover, and then on up toward the Mulvane vicinity. That's the area of most concern right now. Ross?
All right, Mayor, we're coming up on 4 o'clock. Of course, that's the start of our newscast on CW, so we will be simulcasting on the CW as we continue to track these very dangerous storms across south central Kansas. And as Merrill pointed out, this is a brand new tornado warning. It does not include Sedgwick County, but it does include north central and northwestern Sumner County till 4:45 now, including Mayfield and Milan, because we've been tracking an area of rotation that's showing up east of Milan and continuing to move to the northeast. So this is a very dangerous storm, and even if we don't get a tornado out of it, there's certainly that possibility that we might be getting some very large hail. So let's talk about the hail potential in the storm. This is a very powerful thunderstorm still moving to the northeast, and there you can see our computer estimating hailstones a little bit smaller than golf ball size, but based on the nature of the atmosphere today, the environmental conditions, it would not be a surprise to see hailstones 2 inches in diameter, perhaps maybe even slightly larger. That's just a small sample of what our radar is estimating to us what the hailstones might actually be within this storm. And there's also a tremendous amount of lightning. You can see that being indicated here on the radar. The red outline, this is our new tornado warning that will take us until 4:45. And I'll let you see the radar in motion so you can kind of analyze this radar picture as we see it too. And that northeasterly movement, storm holding together, it's probably a good 30 minutes away from crossing over into portions of Sedgwick County. Now, again, we're not saying that there's going to be a tornado warning for Sedgwick County, because the storm can definitely change a lot between where it is now and by the time that it gets up into the southern part of Sedgwick County, but it is a situation to watch very closely. Been a while since we looked at the Sedgwick County thunderstorm, so let's go back there. We've got some heavy rain falling here at our Channel 12 studios, and you can see that strong thunderstorm now moving across the northwest part of the city. We've got light rain falling here at our studios at 37th Street North and Hillside on the northeast side of town, but the hail in this storm looks to me like it's still favored on the western side of the city. In fact, we've got a new hail report. Let's bring that up here from the west side of Wichita. This hail report now indicating that from northwest Wichita, we're at about quarter size. And so we definitely have some larger hail falling with the core of that storm. Going to be headed up toward the town of Sedgwick. If you're in Mays, if you're in Valley Center, you need to be ready because the storm is headed your way. This is a hail-producing storm, not a tornadic thunderstorm like we're watching down in portions of Sumner County. And let's back the radar out, kind of set everything up for you, because we know that some of you just now might be coming across our severe weather coverage this afternoon, a day that we thought would produce quite a bit of severe weather. And we've got a big cluster of storms up here in northeast Kansas, just outside of our viewing area. And then we're starting to see some new storms pop up now in portions of Marion County. Goes right down through the city of Wichita, all the way back down into western sections of Oklahoma. So this is just the start of what will likely be a very busy afternoon right into the evening hours, anticipating additional severe storms to pop up. We're getting ready now for Eyewitness News at 4 on the CW.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
All right, thank you for joining us. Storms are firing up southwest of Wichita. They're already severe, bringing the threat of large hail and even tornadoes as they form. Storms continue to gain strength as Storm Team 12 expects more to develop through the afternoon and evening. It's a storm system we've been warning you about since last week, and right now we've got all eyes on the storm.
Yeah, we have reporters and chasers stationed across Kansas to track the storms and any damage. We begin, though, again with Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen with where those storms are right now.
Well, Melissa and Mike, we are hearing as we come on the air, they're getting ready to sound the sirens at the Kansas Star. So the casino down in closer to Mulvane, that's going to be an area that we'll have to watch closely because the storm coming up from the south has a history of producing funnel clouds. Now, we have not been able to confirm, and we have some very reliable eyes on this storm down in Sumner County. We've had a lot of rotating wall cloud reports. We've had some occasional funnel cloud reports, but we have not been able to confirm a tornado on the ground. We have Emily, we have Lauren out there, just part of a large crew watching the storms for you today. Let's start first, talk a little bit more about the storm in Wichita. We've got a very strong thunderstorm moving through the city right now. This is a hail-producing storm, and we've had, in just the last little while, a couple different reports of hail reported. So let's talk about the information that we have coming in here at the top of this 4 o'clock hour. The warning, by the way, for Sedgwick County takes us until 4:15. We've also got our weather partners at KFDI simulcasting with us now, and here you can see an off-duty National Weather Service employee reporting at 21st and 119th. We're now getting a report of some nickel-sized hail there. So this powerful thunderstorm moving near the Colwich area. It looks like we've got heavy rain, some hail now falling in Mays. From Park City, Keachai to the west of there, this storm moving to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. East Wichita probably going to be spared from any real large hail there. We need to take the radar and go back south and show you what we have as far as the latest is concerned with our tornado warning down here in portions of Sumner County. Obviously, we have a little notch showing up to the east of Milan. This is a strong rotating thunderstorm, and as we bring in the wind mode of Doppler radar, let's see if we can pick out where the circulation is, and you really can't miss it here. We're talking about an area to the west of Wellington. And for our viewers, or for our listeners rather, on KFDI, we're talking about some rotation showing up about 10 to 11 miles to the west-southwest of Wellington, and that storm continuing to move to the northeast. It's quite possible in the next 30 to 45 minutes that this rotating thunderstorm will be coming up into the southern part of Sedgwick County, but it's going to be a little while yet. We have a lot of eyes watching that storm down there. Of course, the mobile units are out today keeping an eye on things, what's going on. So let's check in now with Lauren. She's watching the storm down in Sumner County. Lauren, what can you tell us from where you're at this afternoon?
Yeah, Ross, we are on Highway 160 right now on the west side of Wellington, and as you can see, there is a decent lowering here on the front end of this storm right now. We are seeing some updrafts go up. You can see there is rotation with this lowering. We've seen a funnel probably in the last 15 minutes or so. It did go back up, and we've just been watching this storm move toward the northeast. As it's moved northeast, we've seen quite a few lowerings with it. Really, if you look all across the sky, there are some separate lowerings along this wall cloud, but the front end of that storm is where we're seeing quite a bit of rotation right now. I mean, as I watch it, it seems to be intensifying. We are going to keep watching this, and I'm going to actually let you leave this live look up if you'd like to, and I'm going to send it back to you, Ross, to talk over this.
Okay, well, that's again Lauren. She's reporting from Sumner County on a storm that has a tornado warning with it. We have had, and I've kind of lost count how many different wall cloud reports we've had. We've had occasional funnel cloud reports too, but nothing confirmed on the ground. But I think this storm is going through an organizing stage right now, and you can see this little circular shape showing up. Almost looks like a C on the radar. That's the rotation that we're seeing on the Doppler radar. And once again, when we bring in the wind mode of the radar, we're looking for reds and greens right next to each other. Sometimes it doesn't always stand out that well, but in this instance here, I think we're talking about an area just 8 to 9 miles to the west of Wellington, continuing to move to the northeast. As we watch the radar in motion here, you can follow the circulation now right there, kind of in between Argonia and Wellington, continuing on that northeasterly path. So definitely continuing to watch the situation there. And as we back the radar out, just kind of setting everything up for you, because we do have, okay, this is just popping up now, so let's get that information as it comes in. This happening live on the air. This is going to be another funnel cloud. Okay, it was a brief tornado, rope tornado now reported near the Mayfield area. This happening just before coming on the air at 4 o'clock. Again, this is our first tornado report of the day, happening just before 4 o'clock near Mayfield. So this is a very dangerous storm, continuing to move to the north. And I also understand that we've had some large hail reported on Kellogg. So let's go back up into the city of Wichita here as we look at this big thunderstorm kind of moving over the northwest part of the city. Some large hail being indicated by the radar, and now confirmed. We've had some pretty large hail reported with that storm. There you can see it's $half size reported near 135th and Kellogg from West Wichita. That report coming in at the top of the hour. Merrill, you've got more.
Yeah, Ross, we just got in a report that a separate radar system, I don't have it available on here, but was indicating a downburst in far northwest Wichita, and winds could be upwards of about 50 miles per hour, the National Weather Service says, in association with that portion of the storm. Let's see if we can move the radar here real quick up into Wichita. And so we're looking at the area here, really up more toward Andale and Colwich, where we could be looking at some of those very strong winds. And let's see what we have on that. Not really depicted very well here on the Doppler indications on that. So we'll just leave things as they are. But as Ross was just saying, we still have that storm with the problem area being right around Milan and Mayfield. Mayfield right here, straight to the west of Wellington, and that's the area where we just had the report of a rope tornado, I should say, on the ground. So you're talking about an area straight west of Wellington and north of Perth, and moving to the northeast, headed up toward, or at least very close to, Belle Plaine in about the next 15 or 20 minutes. Ross?
And we have a number of crews out watching the storms for us today. We have Rachel Skyda, who's in Derby. We also have Emily Griffin, who's down in the Harper County area. Let's start first, if we can. Let's go to Rachel. She's in Derby watching the situation there. But before we do, new severe thunderstorm warning. This just coming down for Sedgwick County. This is going to include a big chunk of the county. This is going to take us until 5 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm warning, anticipating more large hail. Rachel, if you're standing by from Derby, go ahead and tell us what you have from there this afternoon.
Ross, we are along K15 near Market in Derby. The rain just started coming down here about 10 minutes ago. The rain is not too strong just yet, but we have heard some thunder and seen a little bit of lightning. Now this is facing west, and if you look southwest, you can see the sky is much darker over there. The wind is starting to pick up here. Our vehicle is parked under a sort of canopy right now, just in case we do get some hail down here. And you can see we're not the only people who have had that idea. There's a couple carports over there where you can see a lot of people are parked. Again, the rain just started coming down here about 10 minutes ago. For now, I will send it back to you, Ross.
All right, thanks, Rachel. We do have some new information coming in on the storm out of portions of Sumner County. So here's our wall cloud, and we definitely have a significant lowering there. This is, again, not a guarantee that we're going to see tornadoes produced out of this wall cloud, but I think this is probably the best looking wall cloud that I've been able to see today in the pictures that we've been getting in the live video too. This is not from 5 or 10 minutes ago. This is happening live right now. We've got Lauren Seabrook, who's down in Sumner County. with her crew that they are watching this storm here. And again, we are looking at a lowering. That is a lot lower than everything else that we're looking at. So you notice this is the big cloud and this hangs down a lot lower. And this is probably where we could see some additional funnels reported. This storm has been rotating now for at least an hour, and we've had several reports of wall clouds, couple funnels, and then just as we mentioned a few minutes ago near Mayfield, we did get a brief rope tornado. Those are the most common kind that we see here in Kansas. They usually don't last very long. They may come down, stay on the ground for a minute or two, and they go right back up. And in this situation here, we have a storm that looks like it's trying to organize, and it's really tough to say whether or not that is a funnel there, but it's trying to do something based on what we're looking at here from the live pictures coming in. So this, again, if you're just now joining our coverage, live video out of Sumner County, a storm that's been rotating for quite some time. We have a tornado warning with it that's going to take us until 4:45, anticipating that the storm has not shown any signs of weakening, and we definitely can't let our guard down just yet. If you're in the path of this storm, what should you do? Just to be safe, the best thing to do is get below ground. And if that's not an option for you, we want you to move to a closet, a bathroom, put as many walls between you and a possible tornado as you can, because if you can get 2 and 3 walls between you and the tornado, that just adds that extra layer of protection from anything that can be flying around in a tornado. So this is a dangerous situation here in Sumner County. We're definitely seeing some tightening of the radar returns, the circulation getting a little stronger, and a lot of heavy rainfall falling with these storms too. So in the path of the storm, below ground is best, not an option. Closets, bathrooms, good places to be. Back to the radar if we can. Setting everything up here in Sedgwick County. It's getting a little bit noisy, certainly with the lightning, the thunder, and we definitely have some larger hail being indicated by the radar here in Sedgwick County. We'll kind of back this out for you. This big thunderstorm on the northern part of the county is producing some hail that at one time was reported to be about $half size, and you can see how rapidly other thunderstorms are starting to pop up now this afternoon. We've got new storms going up in Butler County, northwestern Cowley County, new storms going up there into Marion and McPherson County, and then we have the tornado warned storm that we were just looking at coming out of Sumner County. Merrill standing by with other additional radar information to share with us.
Yeah, Russ, and we are seeing some very strong returns now on the Doppler portion of the radar with the winds going away. We don't have a lot of the good greens that we would anticipate to seeing, but you see those live pictures, so there's no question that we've got a rotating wall cloud. We know there have been some funnels and at least one brief touchdown with that storm. So once again, the area of concern where you see some of these bright reds, there aren't the bright greens right next to it, which is actually good news, because that means although the storm may be rotating, it's not gotten really tightly wound up, you know, like an ice skater. When they take their arms and bring them down to their sides, they can spin faster and faster. Well, of course, when you're spinning, you're going fast on one side and you're going fast just on the opposite side at about the same speed. We'd be looking for that for a really well-defined tornado. Now, let me switch back over to the reflectivity on the radar, and you can see we have a little drying notch that's moving in on that. Again, another indication that we probably have some significant rotation there. Now, just to the northeast of Mayfield and continuing on that northeastward movement. So folks over all of the northwestern portions and north central sections of Sumner County need to continue with your tornado precautions at this time. Ross?
Okay, Merrill, just talking about the storm here in Sedgwick County, because we're still getting some large hail. In fact, in the last couple minutes, we did get our largest hail report at golf ball size coming in now on the western part of the city. So as we go in a little bit tighter here, get some more towns to pop up on the map. Here's Park City, the town of Sedgwick. This brings us up into southern Harvey County. This is a very strong thunderstorm that looks like it has been intensifying in the last little while. And some of our largest hail continuing to be reported from West Wichita, and that makes sense based on what we're seeing on the radar. We've had now our largest hail report at golf ball size, and that's the report that you see here. Pictures coming in on Facebook and Twitter. Just one of many ways that we get information into the Storm Center. But at 4:08 from West Wichita, again, golf ball size hail was reported. So we know the storm has at least reach that particular strength. I'll let you see the radar in motion so you can watch the pictures as we do too coming in on the radar. The storm continuing to go northeast, and we definitely have that new severe thunderstorm warning that does include much of Sedgwick County, and it does include portions of Harvey County. Just bringing up the information here as it comes in. For Sedgwick County and Harvey County, the warning goes until 5 o'clock this afternoon. This entire area of central and eastern Kansas continues under a tornado watch, and we are now simulcasting once again with KFDI as we track the storms across south central Kansas. For those that may be out driving around in the city of Wichita, the radar continues to indicate some very large hail over the northern part of Sedgwick County, perhaps maybe up to golf ball size, because we have at least had one report of that now. That storm continuing to show more of a north movement, and that looks to bring it up into portions of southern Harvey County within the next 15 to 20 minutes. But as far as the city of Wichita is concerned, the southern part of the city beginning to catch a little bit of a break. The core of the storm around Mays and Valley Center still moving up to the north. Anybody traveling on 135 is likely encountering some tremendous rainfall and some hail too. The storm has a history of producing hailstones up to golf ball size. And then we have the tornado warned storm that's still down here in portions of Sumner County that continues to show that northeasterly movement. And it looks like that storm could be coming up into Sedgwick County within the next 20 to 30 minutes. We were told that they were sounding the sirens at the Kansas Star Casino, trying to give people as much time to move to a place of safety as we possibly can. As you watch the live pictures coming out of Sumner County, this goes along with this tornado warned storm down here to the south. And we'll bring the radar up to the current time, and we'll zoom back in to south central Kansas, and especially this tornado warning that continues for Sumner County. You can see this little notch that's showing up here well to the south and east of Conway Springs, well to the west of Wellington. When this initial tornado warning came out, we thought the storm would miss Wellington to the west, and in fact that has happened. So that is some encouraging news there for those in Wellington. And let's go back to Lauren Seabrook. She's standing by with some live eyewitness accounts of what we're looking at there from Sumner County.
Yeah, Ross, we've been watching quite a few lowerings with this storm just over the last 10 or 15 minutes. Right now, we're really getting a strong lowering on the front side of this. We've seen a lot of inflow from the back side, and I've been watching the wind speeds just on the grass here. Most of this time, the wind has been going northeast, but now we're getting a lot of wind coming from the east going west into this storm. So like you can see in your shot there on the front side of the storm, we are seeing a pretty decent lowering here. There is a huge wall cloud in this area. We're getting a lot of lowerings throughout the front side. I'm going to have my photographer even widen out if we can at all and kind of pan over to the left just to see how big of an area we're looking at here. Where we're at, there is no rain, there is no hail, nothing going on in this area. It's very clear, but just probably a couple of miles to our northwest, that's the way we're looking right now on Highway 160 on the west side of Wellington. That's where you're seeing this lowering here. And I'm telling you, at least a mile wide, we're seeing multiple lowerings with this storm, Ross.
Okay, thanks very much, Lauren. If we can kind of take a wider view at some point in time with that storm down there in Sumner County, I think there's probably a smaller part of it that would be considered the wall cloud, because wall clouds are often usually fairly small. But what we're looking at here, and we probably should take that picture full screen if we can to kind of set everything up as to what we're looking at. That wall cloud to me looks like it's right there on the right part of the screen. It looks to me like this is it right here. This to me looks like it would be a developing funnel cloud. This storm has been trying so hard to produce a tornado, and we've had at least one report of a brief rope tornado. This is the heavy rain over here. Those are curtains of rain is how we would describe that. But this to me looks like it's our wall cloud over here with something that's trying to lower there. Now it looks like it's kind of gone back up into the cloud, which is good news. You know, we're not hoping for a tornado out of this, but as we analyze these storms and we see the live pictures coming in, we compare it to what we see on the radar. We're just trying to set everything up for you and help you figure out what exactly the chasers and spotters are looking at, what we would report to the National Weather Service. And based on what we're looking at here, we definitely have a wall cloud. It looks like it's rotating, but looking down at the ground, I don't see any dust being kicked up, so we definitely don't have a tornado touching the ground. So some encouraging news there. But the winds are going to be shifty around these storms, as Lauren was talking about, because you often find some very different directions when it comes to wind around these big hail producing storms that sometimes do produce tornadoes. So let's go back over to the radar and look at this storm one more time. You can see the circulation still kind of wrapping itself up there to the east of Conway Springs, to the northwest of Wellington. Tornado warning does continue for portions of Sumner County. Merrill?
All righty, Ross, we just got in a new severe thunderstorm warning warning for Butler County in effect until 5:15. It's actually for two different severe thunderstorms. One is down in southwestern Butler County in the Douglas area. The other one is right around the Benton vicinity, and you can see there's the Kansas Turnpike. There's 254 from El Dorado, and both of those storms considered severe right now, likely to produce up to half-dollar sized hail and winds up to upwards of about 60 miles an hour. Now let me put things into motion here, and you'll be able to see how those storms are moving almost straight to the north as they've been kind of developing. So again, a northward movement. So that especially the western half of Butler County under the gun with these storms for the potential of some large hail and some damaging winds. Now that doesn't rule out the eastern portions of the county, because we are looking at some other thunderstorm activity that's down in Cowley County that's also moving to the north, although not considered severe at this point in time. But again, a rather dangerous situation with the thunderstorms there. Just a quick view a little bit wider. You can see all the activity that's around the Wellington area, again to the west of Wellington with the tornado-warned storms, the storms that are moving through Wichita and Sedgwick County. Another severe thunderstorm warning that's now covering most of Marion County, and then the Butler County warning over there. And then way off into northeastern Kansas, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings, but those storms are all pushing off to the north or out of our area. So maybe a little bit of good news that that's one batch of storms we don't have to be concerned with for folks who can be watching us right now. Ross?
And Merrill, it's been a while since we've talked a little bit more in depth about this rotating storm in Sumner County, and then we'll get to that storm in Marion County, because for anybody watching us from up around the Marion area wants to know what's going on there. We're still looking to try to find where exactly the circulation is with this storm, but we believe it to be well to the northwest of Wellington. Really, any of these areas in through here could be producing a funnel cloud. We've had several reports of rotating wall clouds, perhaps maybe a funnel too, but the storm could be going through an organizing stage, and we're just not able to pick out that rotation as distinct as we were even 10 or 15 minutes ago. But there's still a notch on the radar, still a little bit of a hook as we would call it, and so this is an area that we continue to monitor very, very closely. Once again, the warning that does continue for Sumner County, this does include the Belle Plaine area, much of northwestern portions of Sumner County till 4:45. So we're talking about 25 minutes from now, and then we'll have to wait and see what this storm does. If you're wondering, will it come up into Sedgwick County? Will we find ourselves in a tornado warning? We'll take a look here, and let me just point out the fact that here's the rotation, and if it continues to move to the northeast, there is that strong possibility that we could see a tornado warning for parts of Sedgwick County, but we're just kind of waiting to see how the storm evolves over the next 20 to 30 minutes. Do we continue to see the rotation? Do we continue to get those reports of wall clouds and potential funnels? Now, once again, we back the radar out, set everything up for you. If you're just now coming across our coverage, we have a number of thunderstorms that have been firing up since about 2:30 this afternoon. Western Kansas in the clear, and this batch of storms stretching from northern Oklahoma all the way up into Wichita, continuing to northeastern sections of Kansas. And very quickly, I want to zoom into that storm in Marion County. We promised to those that watching from there that we would do that, and then we've got some other business that we need to take care of. As we zoom into the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Marion County, looking at a very strong thunderstorm now to the north of Hillsboro, to the west of Lincolnville. There could very easily be some golf ball size hail with this storm. We've got traffic congestion going on in Wichita. I believe Cindy Close standing by with some information on that.
Thanks, Ross. We know a lot of people have been let go early from work so they can get home ahead of the storm. And this is a look at K96 and Hillside. And you can see the traffic is backed up. We're seeing the same thing from our traffic cameras at K96 and 135. And we have some storm shots that are starting to come in. You've mentioned that storm down by the Caldwell area, and we can walk over to this monitor and show you this. That came in from Nick Stewart as the storm was approaching Caldwell, and you can see the funnel, one of the first ones reported. Also reports of hail. This is from 119th and Pawnee, slightly bigger than quarter-sized hail. Now over to Mike and Melissa.
All right, thank you, Cindy. We need to get this out. If you have a bus rider, you're waiting for your child to come home. We just got a notification from the Wichita schools here. Due to this weather, expect a delay right now of 10 to 15 minutes. They're encouraging all walkers and bus riders to stay indoors. Also encouraging parents to do the same right now. They're saying this is not a tornado shelter alert, but of course a precaution just to keep kids safe. So it may be about a 10 to 15 minute delay for your bus riders coming home.
And in the immediate area, again, no tornado warnings. Right now they're worried about that hail that we're seeing, especially on the west side. Let's send it on over to Ross with the latest on the weather.
Well, Mike and Melissa, we continue to monitor the severe weather situation that continues to unfold over much of Kansas and especially into south central Kansas. As we zoom back into the Wichita area, we can set this all up for you. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Sedgwick County for the potential of hail, and the largest hailstone that I've seen come into the office today, golf ball size, but we're probably going to continue to see additional reports of hail that size, maybe even larger. And then we have the severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for portions of Butler County, expecting that we will see some hail produced out of these storms, and that's going to be the biggest threat today. Hailstones, and this is not an exaggeration, could potentially get up to 3 inches in diameter. That's a huge hailstone. That's even larger than baseball size, and it's not a guarantee that we're going to see hail of that size. That's just what the atmosphere is capable of today. So we're talking about an area to the west of El Dorado, very close. This would be to the north of Andover here near the Benton area. We had a report of some quarter-size hail there. That coming in at about 4:20 this afternoon, so some fairly current information there. And as you watch the radar in motion, once again, everything moving north-northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. You can see how rapidly these storms in Butler County are starting to fire up. Large hail expected there. Large hail with this storm near Valley Center, moving up into portions of Harvey County. And as we take the radar and go just a little bit farther north so we can bring Newton into view, you can see we've got a lot of storms covering now Harvey County, anticipating hailstones maybe up to golf ball size given the atmospheric conditions today. And those storms will be moving up into southern Marion County within the next 20 to 30 minutes. So a lot to keep an eye on there. Once again, Wichita, the city itself, and especially downtown Wichita, catching a little bit of a break, but just in time for the evening rush hour. Look what's coming in from the south. The storm that has had a tornado warning with it continues to move towards Sedgwick County. Now, it has been a long period of time since we've had an actual tornado reported with the storm. A lot of wall clouds, some occasional funnels, but based on what I'm looking at here, the rotation maybe not quite as strong as it was even 15 or 20 minutes ago. But until we get to the end of this tornado warning, we really don't know what the National Weather Service is going to decide to do with this. But the tornado warning does continue for Sumner County until 4:45 because we've had a lot of rotation reported with it. And now I'm starting to see something that looks a little more concerning back on the southern fringe of this storm. So let's zoom back into the south side of it, because it looks to me like maybe we have some new rotation starting to develop back to the south and west of Wellington. Notice this little notch now to the south of Mayfield as we bring in the Doppler radar indications here to see exactly what the wind is doing. Nothing that really stands out all that distinct to me, but once again, based on some of the other indications that we have on radar, looks like maybe we have some new rotation that's starting to show up here with the storm to the south of Mayfield. And we've had some storms merge over western Sumner County, and that really complicates things when we're trying to analyze it from a radar standpoint. That's where actual ground truth, those eyewitness accounts from the chasers and spotters, really come in handy, because it allows us to kind of decipher what we're looking at on radar just that much closer. So south of Mayfield looks like maybe some new rotation starting to develop. Say that again, Everett. Okay, we've got Rodney standing by at the chaser desk. He's got some additional details.
That's right, Ross. We have Storm Team 12 chaser Scott Roberts. He is looking at that part of the storm there you were just referring to. We're going to take his video here in just a second. If you look off here into the distance, there's a little bit of rain in between. There we go. There's a little bit better picture. And if you look there in the distance, we do have a little bit of a lowering there corresponding to that little appendage that Ross was just showing on radar. Again, that's his Storm Team 12 chaser Scott Roberts. Right now he's about 5 miles north of Wellington, and his view is off to the southwest. So he's looking at that little more southern storm that's making its way out of southwestern Sumner County. Right now, that area of suspicion there, especially just to the south of Mayfield. Not really strong rotation showing up, but it is the southernmost cell, and it's in, of course, that tornado warning. So that little lowering there that we're seeing from Scott Roberts definitely bears some watching here over the next little while as we continue to watch those storms. There he's panning out just a bit, and you can see a little wider view as he's looking off to the west and southwest there, and now panning through the west. You can see some of that other part of the storm there just immediately west of his location. Little bit of a little cloud there that's showing up there. Not sure if that's anything of significance right now. Something that Scott's going to watch, of course, and we're in constant contact with all the chasers, and he'll let us know if there's anything new with that little part of that, but certainly has his attention there for right now. So we have had several of these little lowerings and at times little funnels showing up there in the storm detail. But again, watching that storm closely in parts of Sumner County. Tornado warning continues there for northwestern Sumner County until 4:45. Ross, we're going to watch that video a little more so here the next couple of minutes and let you know if we've got anything new there that's showing up there on that road going off to the west of Scott's location. Guys?
Okay, thanks very much, Rodney. Of course, that would be an area of concern. Looked to me like we were trying to develop a funnel out of that, but this is just in the last couple scans of the radar straight to the south of Mayfield. Looks like we're trying to develop some new rotation there. I'll let you see the radar in motion, and then we'll get back to kind of a wider view to set everything up for you here at now approaching 4:30 in the afternoon, and you can see that rotation starting to get better defined on the radar. This is again in Sumner County to the south of Wichita, south of Mayfield. We're starting to see some new rotation showing up there. If you're just now coming across our coverage, some of you coming home from work wanting to know what's going on with the weather, well, we have quite a number of thunderstorms that started developing at about 2:30 this afternoon, and storms go all the way back down into western Oklahoma, continue right up through Wichita. We've got other thunderstorms that have fired up in northern Cowley County and portions of Butler County, so there is really quite a bit of severe weather now underway in Kansas. Most of them severe thunderstorm warnings. We're expecting very large hail with a number of storms that we're looking at today. And as we look at the situation up here in central Kansas, we're quiet in Salina. For the most part, things are relatively quiet in McPherson, but you don't have to get too far east of there to find this severe thunderstorm now that's in effect for portions of Marion County, and that looks to be a dangerous storm, potentially producing some larger hail. I understand that we have Pilar Pedraza. She's in McPherson, kind of keeping an eye on the situation there. Let's check in with Pilar if we can for the latest out of McPherson County.
Well, we don't have any rain or severe storms here yet. They are definitely keeping an eye on it. And in fact, let's take a look at these clouds here. This is to the northeast of McPherson, the city of McPherson, where we are at right now. And we've been watching a couple of these clouds here that have been growing, getting darker, blacker. They're trying to develop kind of that classic flat top of the anvil shape that you see for thunderstorm clouds, thunderheads. So we're definitely keeping an eye on those. We actually did just a couple of minutes ago see a couple, or at least one flash of lightning off in the distance. Now, so far, like I said, these storms seem to be to the northeast of us, and folks here in McPherson County are hoping that it stays that way. While they've been planning for this storm since yesterday, just to be on the safe side, they released kids from school early today to make sure they could be home before the storms might hit. They say that the last time they had major storms like this in the area, they bypassed McPherson County to the north and the east, and they're just hoping to see something like that again out here. So for a further update on what's going on, let's go back to the studio.
Okay, thanks very much, Pilar. As we continue to watch the situation just east of where she's at, this is Marion County. She's reporting from McPherson County in what's kind of the western fringe of a lot of these storms right now. And this thunderstorm here in Marion County continuing to show that north-northeast movement at about 30 miles per hour. Bring you up to the current time here and show you what we have as far as potential hail within this storm out of Marion County, and it looks like it could at least be quarter size. That's the report coming up on HD Super Doppler. We haven't had any reports out of Marion County, so if you're watching us today and you can jump on Facebook or Twitter, let us know what you've got falling there so we can pass that along to everybody else. We've got some other additional information we can pass along. Let's check in at the anchor desk with Mike and Melissa.
All right, thank you, Ross. We do want to update some folks on the Wichita School District and their dismissal time.
Yeah, Devin Fastbinder is out there with the latest information. What is the latest, Devin?
Yeah, Mike, so we're here in northwest Wichita. I'm right outside of one of the elementary schools, Wichita Public Schools elementary schools. We've just heard from Susan Arnsman, who's a spokesperson for the Wichita School District. She said that within the next 10 to 15 minutes, which we're into right now, the storms are expected to get a little bit worse. And so for that reason, the schools have held the 4:10 dismissal. They're keeping students inside, and they're encouraging parents to come inside too if they're there for the students. They've been holding the buses. They just want to make sure that those students are safe. So if you have a student who leaves at 4:10, they may be being held right now just until some of the bad part of the storm passes over some of those schools.
All right, thank you, Devin. And they're going to hold them for as long as needed. We did hear from the schools, so that could be.
That is the clarification they wanted. And Devin is in northwest Wichita. I know a lot of our reports from hail, about a quarter size, even up to a golf ball size
hail,
have been coming from that part of town right now. So that's the area that was getting hit the hardest at the moment.
All right, let's send it back to Ross.
Okay, thanks very much, Mike and Melissa. We're continuing to analyze the radar data here live on the air as we've got a tornado warning that does continue for portions of Sumner County. So let's get back to what's going on. Here you can see some strong thunderstorms around Mound Ridge. Those don't have a warning with it right now, but wouldn't be surprised to be getting some dime-size hail there. And then some very intense storms to the south of Peabody. These thunderstorms are also moving to the northeast. And as we continue to watch the radar here in replay, you can see over the last hour that northeasterly movement. Any of these storms will be capable of hail, maybe up to golf ball size. And as you get the information, you get something falling out your window and you're on Facebook or Twitter, we'd love to hear from you so we know what's happening there. It just allows us to pass on that information to the National Weather Service for not only for warning purposes, but also so we can let people on the path of the storm know exactly what's taking place. Once again, we're headed for that tornado warned storm out of portions of Sumner County that's been giving us some problems today. We're also watching what's going on here in Butler County. We've had some occasional reports of at least some rotation with a few of these storms, but nothing that looks all that imminent. This is the storm that is at a tornado warning with it now for at least an hour. This was our first tornado warning of the day for portions of Sumner County, and a storm that has been trying to organize, trying to produce a tornado. We had at least one brief tornado reported. That was to the south of Mayfield, and now, as we talked about 10 minutes ago, there's some new rotations showing up to the west of Wellington. That storm continuing to move to the northeast. There are some storm shots trickling in, and as you send pictures to us today, make sure you're doing it from a safe location. We can't stress that enough because we don't want pictures coming in from any of you that are putting yourself in harm's way. Do we have the pictures? Let's, there we go. Let's send it over to Cindy. She's got the latest on storm shots.
We have a lot of storm shots coming in through email and also from Facebook, and let's take a look at them. We've been talking about how big the hail is. This is quarter-sized hail. It came from Bailey and Ivan. This is near Kellogg and Mays in Wichita. This from Garrick Enright at 119th and Pawnee, and you see this is bigger than quarter-sized hail. And this fits in the palm of your hand from Burgundy Taylor near Mays and Kellogg. The National Weather Service said it had had a lot of reports of golf ball-sized hail across northwest Wichita. This from near 13th and Mays, which would be northwest Wichita. Hail shots continuing to come in. This from Kellogg and Tyler from Gale Dryer, and this is slightly bigger than quarter size. That looks like a quarter, but it's gold colored. This from Tanner Merritt at Kellogg and Mays. So you can see we're getting a lot of pictures of hail. Keep bringing them into us. It's pretty big. Golf ball there, it looks like. And this from Kathy Ornelius in Wichita. So check out our Facebook page, keep it here, and let's go over to Ross for the latest.
Okay, thanks, Cindy. We do continue with the tornado warning for Sumner County. This, by the way, the only tornado warning in our coverage area right now. This warning will take us until 4:45, so we have 10 minutes left on the tornado warning for northwestern Sumner County. We have not had a tornado at any point in time, at least in the last 20 to 30 minutes. We did get a brief tornado reported just to the south and east of the Mayfield area, and that tornado warning does continue for northwestern portions of Sumner County once again until 4:45 today. As far as what's coming back into Wichita, because we've already had one round of thunderstorms and now we're getting set for another, and that's the storm that's coming out of Sumner County. So heavy rainfall already in progress now over the southern part of the county. Looks like the larger hail just to the south of the city of Wichita. But as we watch this radar in replay, because the first storm that went across the city of Wichita was basically producing some larger hail on the western side of the city. Now the second storm that's coming in is going to be favored to produce some larger hail South Wichita, eastern sections of the city, and eventually could be impacting, say, Bel Air, Park City, Keachai, those areas over toward Andover. Be ready as the storm approaches from the southwest. Once again, hailstones that might be golf ball size with this storm. And it looks like we just had another hail report come in, so let's see what that is coming from the core of the storm. And there you see quarter-size hail reported at 422 from around the Clearwater area. That coming in from one of the storm spotters that are out there today. And there are a lot of spotters in the area today. So the good news with that kind of situation, if these storms produce tremendous hail, which they have a strong likelihood of doing, or they produce a tornado, we've got so many eyeballs around these storms that that we hear about it almost instantly. So that's what's encouraging with our storm coverage today, that as these storms, you know, whatever they decide to do, whether it's large hail or an isolated tornado, we're going to hear about it almost instantly because of all of the spotters that are out there today. We don't want anybody that's untrained out there trying to see for themselves what's going on. Let us continue to track the storms on radar and let our trained spotters and our news crews that are out there today keep an eye on the situation there. So we've got some big storms now moving across portions of Butler County. And any of these storms here are going to be capable of some very large hail. And big storms continue up into southern sections of Marion County. We've got this other thunderstorm that's coming in from the south into portions of Sedgwick County. By the way, the warning for Sedgwick County that's in effect will take us until after the right up to 5 o'clock this evening. Does include Harvey County and Sedgwick County, Bel Air, Bentley, and Clearwater included in the warning, concerned about some large hail here. And then as we get back to the south and west, once again, we are still tracking storms out of northern sections of Oklahoma because those will likely have some impact on south central Kansas as we head into the evening hours. And you can see that storms go from south of Anthony and Harper County all the way down to the west of Medford. And then we continue with a big batch of storms all the way down into western sections of Oklahoma. So we'll be at this a while. We anticipated that there would be a fair number of severe thunderstorms today, and we are definitely seeing that unfold now across south central Kansas. Merrill?
Ross, that storm that initially prompted the tornado warning for Sumner County, I got to tell you, as I've been watching the northeastward movement on that storm, it seems to have weakened significantly. In fact, it's kind of hard to pick anything out any longer up here near the Peck vicinity. That would be about where it is it moved right on up through here. Now, the second area that Ross has been talking about, and let me stop this on its motion, and there we go, is now off to the northwest of Wellington, northeast of Mayfield. The area of rotation went just about right over Wellington Lake a little while ago and has now continued on that northeastward movement. And let's put it into the Doppler wind mode, and it looks like that area, but not as well defined as we may have seen a little bit earlier with the first storm. So we're just kind of keep an eye on that one, and hopefully it doesn't develop into anything more than what we're looking at right now. But the fact that we have had those little notches with the drier air kind of filtering into the storm is an indication of some of that rotation that's going on down in that area. So again, we are now back to the northwest of Wellington with that area of concern, and again, still moving on to the northeast. Ross?
And Merrill, we would have to expect that the National Weather Service is probably going to allow that tornado warning to expire at 4:45. They've just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for much of Sedgwick County, and this is going to take us until 5:45. It does include Sumner County too, so this just coming down in the last minute or so. New warning for Sedgwick County till 5:45, Bel Air, Clearwater, the Delano District area included, Derby too, anticipating some large hail. So let's start first with the radar in motion so you can see the storm coming up from the south. Main threat's going to be large hail, maybe up to golf ball size, and then these big storms continue over much of Butler County, continuing to also to move to the northeast, and the warning for Butler County will continue for several more minutes here as the threat for large hail does continue here as we now get closer and closer to 5 o'clock in the evening. Let's go ahead and zoom in tighter on the storms coming out of Sumner County. And you can see that these storms, this is the same batch of storms that was responsible for the rotation, the wall clouds that we were getting, the funnels too, and it did produce at least one tornado that we know of. That was several minutes ago, though. And once again, as you watch the radar in motion, storms continue to push to the northeast at close to 40 miles per hour. So the rain picking up in intensity now. The larger hail that we're talking about seems to me like it's from the south side of Wichita down toward the Derby and Mulvane areas, continuing with that northeasterly movement. So give yourself, there's going to be probably some issues coming home from work, certainly at rush hour now, dealing with some very heavy rainfall moving through the area. And a severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Butler County, because we continue to see these stronger thunderstorms racing off to the northeast. So let's investigate those just a little bit more, as we also have the possibility that we might have some golf ball size hail with storms to the south of Leon. Storms moving through El Dorado right now could be producing some larger hail, and then a big batch of storms now in northwestern sections of Butler County, including Whitewater. Looks like we've just had a new report of some larger hail from the northwest corner of Butler County. And as that comes up here on the screen, we've also had another report there off to the north and west of El Dorado. So these storms are capable of some pretty large hail. And once again, this report here, that's fairly small. That's just half-inch hail from near the Potwin area. But let's see what we had reported here. Here's quarter-size hail now reported near Elbing from northwestern portions of Butler County. This again off to the northeast of Wichita. Storms continue to move to the northeast as well at close to 30, 35 miles per hour. So heads up. For southern sections of Marion County, you're already seeing some heavy rain and hail there, but also over into Chase County, that will be another area to monitor for the potential of some severe storms as well. As we continue to take the radar and go north with it, for those that are watching us from Marion County, severe thunderstorm warning does continue. We've already watched one big storm roll across Hillsboro, now up to the north of Lincolnville, and more storms coming in from the south with capable quarter-size hail now, I think, with these storms to the south of Hillsboro, and that northeasterly movement looks like it will continue as well. And as we once again kind of go from a wider angle so you can see how things look across the entire south central Kansas area, we've got a big storm up here getting closer to the Harrington area. That will be coming into western Morris County, strong thunderstorms in southern Dickinson County, and then this big complex of hail producing storms now moving through northeast Kansas. We've got our own trouble here with storms producing some large hail down across portions of south central Kansas as well. We are now in continuous coverage once again with our weather partners over at KFDI, kind of setting the stage here for anybody that might be leaving work, headed home after this long day here now of tracking storms. We continue to see severe weather popping up over south central Kansas. We do have a strong thunderstorm that's coming back into southern sections of Wichita, really south central and eastern portions of Sedgwick County going to feel the brunt of this storm. And what we see on the radar right now is some of the heaviest of the returns continue to be from the south side of Wichita down into the southern part of the county, kind of from Clearwater just to the east of there. Some of the heavier returns on radar to the west of Derby. So anybody that might be traveling in the southern part of the city right now will likely experience some very heavy rainfall. The hail could soon start to fall because the darker shades of red on our radar are starting to come into the southern part of the city, and anybody on the northern part of the city is likely encountering some heavy rainfall, but I don't see any real significant hail right now in places like Keachai, Park City, Bel Air. But these storms are moving to the northeast, and there's a strong probability that just about everybody on the eastern half of Sedgwick County could be looking at some of that larger hail here momentarily, so something we'll have to continue to watch out for that. 47th and Meridian, we've had some reports of hail there. Appears to be fairly small, so that's encouraging news. But with the nature of the atmosphere today, it's quite possible that any of these severe thunderstorms today could produce hailstones up to golf ball size. We've already had a couple reports of hailstones larger than 2-inch in diameter, but that was from portions of Sumner County, not in the city of Wichita or Sedgwick County. We also have quite a bit of thunderstorm activity underway in portions of Butler County, and those storms too continue to move off to the northeast. Once again, main threat there continuing to be some large hail. And we've had quite a number of reports coming in from Douglas. We've had another report near the Potwin area, also of some large hail. Right now, what we're looking at in Butler County is a strong thunderstorm to the south of Leon, another fairly intense storm up toward the Whitewater area, and everything on the radar today continuing to move to the northeast. This is potentially just round one that we're dealing with right now in south central Kansas, because with more storms redeveloping over western Oklahoma and a northeast movement will keep a lot of that coming up towards south central Kansas and the city of Wichita as we get closer to 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. So this is by far not the end of severe weather in Wichita or Sedgwick County. Really, most of the area is going to continue to have a severe threat all the way up until, say, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So not only do we need to concern ourselves with large hail, but as we continue to get heavy rainfall, flooding could be a potential problem too. So that's kind of the overall view of south central Kansas. We are about ready to check in with Lauren Seabrook, who's reporting down from Sumner County. Let's check in with her now.
Yeah, Ross, we're on the north side of Wellington now. We moved from our other location where we were on the west side. We're now just north of Wellington on Vandenberg Avenue. We're just north of West 16th Street. We are looking at rotation still with this same storm. We saw some funnels lowerings earlier. We're not seeing any of that right now. We are just seeing some rotation with this storm. It's actually, if you look in the back, you can see a clearing through the middle of it, but to the front side of the storm, there's a lot of rain. Those rain curtains you were talking about earlier. On the back side of the storm, we're seeing some rain curtains and just a clearing there in the middle. And really where that clearing is where we're seeing the majority of the rotation. We are probably just a mile or two maybe to the west, or to the east of that storm. And right now the conditions are very calm. There is no wind at all in this area. We were seeing some pretty strong wind when we were further west of Wellington, but right now not much wind, no rain in this area, no hail. Just watching this specific storm again that has been tornado warned now for quite some time. Still has not put out any funnels in this area, but right now we are watching some strong circulation. Ross?
Okay, thanks very much, Lauren. As we get closer to 5 o'clock, we are now learning that the tornado warning for Sumner County has in fact expired at 4:45 today. And most of the storms, as they continue to move to the northeast, these are likely to be very heavy rainfall producers and also large hail producers. Now, there is a wind threat too. That may come later in the evening as the storms continue to evolve and our atmosphere changes with some stronger winds coming into the atmosphere a little bit later on in the evening. But this is kind of a regional view, if you will, kind of setting everything up for you, letting you know where we have warnings in effect right now. There was a new warning issued for eastern Harper County. Storms are starting to redevelop there. We have this big cluster of storms working its way across the city of Wichita and Sedgwick County. We're concerned about some quarter-size hail, maybe in some isolated spots, maybe a little bit larger than that. And then a big severe thunderstorm warning that almost covers the entire county. Now it looks like we've had an update on that. This is the warning for Butler County. Once again, expecting large hail if you're in the path of these storms. This warning goes until 5:15 for Butler County, including Augusta, Cassaday, El Dorado, and the Leon area. And those severe storms continue up into central Kansas, including Marion County, too. Merrill?
Well, Ross, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but we are looking at more thunderstorms that have developed back into northwestern sections of Oklahoma with a couple of different severe thunderstorm warnings, one as close as the northern sections of Grant County, Oklahoma, particularly just to the west and north of the Medford vicinity, and all of that moving to the northeast, as is most of the thunderstorm activity, although some individual storms are moving a little bit more due north than actually northeast. But you can see that lineup of storms now stretches from just to the south of, or really more the west of Cottonwood Falls, more significant storms over into Marion County, and then just not continuous, but getting pretty close to being a continuous line of storms from Butler County through Wichita and all the way back down into northwestern portions of Oklahoma. And again, movement on this activity continues to be mainly to the northwest. And anywhere that you see the brighter shades of pink in these thunderstorms, that's where you're going to find for sure the heaviest rainfall, and more likely than not, that's where you're also going to find the hail. So just about every one of the storms from here in portions of Butler County, the northwest Butler County, southeast Butler County, southwest Sedgwick County, eastern Harper County, northern Grant County, all with storms that are likely to be producing some hail at this point in time. And the potential is out there for some of those hailstones to be golf ball, maybe even a little bit larger than that. Ross?
Okay, thanks very much, Merrill. As we continue to get information coming into the storm center, we just had a report of some quarter-size hail from near the Latham area, that coming out of Butler County. And once again, you can see these storms moving to the northeast. We have some additional information to pass along. Standing by with that is Mike at the anchor desk.
All right, Ross, we'll take it from here. We want to update folks on the release situation that's going on at Wichita Public Schools.
Yeah, Wichita Public Schools, they have about 16,000 bus riders. Elementary schools released late, around 4:10. We have on the phone spokesperson with UST 259, Susan Arnsman. Susan, the way I understand it, you're going to wait until you guys decide an all clear is given. At that point, those bus riders then will be able to go home?
That is correct. Right now, we only have our elementary schools that are being held. If parents came to pick them up, that is fine, but we are holding the buses, and we are encouraging our students who walk to stay indoors. And this is not a tornado shelter alert, but this is just a precaution to keep kids safe indoors while this storm passes through.
Susan, quickly, if you could explain how the decision is going to be made for that all clear. We just saw Merrill showing that string of storms all the way down into Oklahoma, that this could be a repeat production here throughout the evening. Do you have any kind of timeline, or what should parents expect?
We're hoping, we're obviously keeping an eye on it, and we will obviously make that announcement as soon as we can. We are hoping to gather more information very soon, and we'll see where we go from there. But it's one of those where we're just going to monitor the weather. We want to make sure that our kids are safe.
All right, Susan Arnsman with USD 259. They're really good at sharing a lot of that information on Facebook and Twitter. We'll be sharing that both on air and online as well.
And just impacting the elementary schools right now, holding those buses and encouraging walkers to stay inside. All right, listening back to weather with another look at what's going on.
Okay, Mike and Melissa, we still have a bunch of severe thunderstorms out there this afternoon, all the way from western Oklahoma right through south central Kansas. So let's start first to the south, and then we'll work our way to the north with some of the most recent scans that we've had here on the radar. Have a pretty healthy thunderstorm now just to the east of Anthony, if you will. That storm is pushing to the northeast. Looks like we may be getting some hail slightly larger than quarter size with that storm in the eastern portion of Harper County. Once again, northeast movement at about 30 miles per hour. Other scattered thunderstorms now in western sections of Sumner County. We heard from Lauren. She was watching storms that were off to the west of Wellington. Some pretty impressive rain curtains there, but could not confirm anything that was rotating, and we certainly don't have any of the rotating indications that we had earlier this afternoon when the tornado warning was issued. Now, as far as what's going on in Sedgwick County, we've had some heavy rainfall move across the city, but look at this strong thunderstorm here straight to the south of the city, kind of to the east of the Schulte area. That storm continues to move to the northeast, and so we're definitely not out of the woods. The warning does continue for Sedgwick County, anticipating that we might get some quarter-size hail out of this, maybe slightly larger than that. It's been a little while since we've had anything larger than quarter-size reported, but there is that potential in the atmosphere today, so we don't want to let our guard down with that storm that we're looking at there over portions of south central Sedgwick County, and that may be coming up into the city of Wichita in the next little while, something we'll have to continue to watch out for there. Over into Butler County we go. We continue to watch storms that are just to the south of Leon. We've had some indications, at least a couple reports coming into the storm center, some weak rotation with that, nothing confirmed as far as a wall cloud goes, so that's encouraging news. And then over the northern part of Butler County, some strong thunderstorms that continue to move to the northeast, and also for eastern portions of Marion County, strong thunderstorms continue to the east of Hillsboro, to the south of Lincolnville. Just another area that we'll have to continue to watch. And on the northern fringe of our area, northern sections of Morris County still officially under severe thunderstorm warning. That could be canceled early, though, as the storms look to have moved out of that area for right now. So a lot of thunderstorms continuing to develop and move across south central and central Kansas. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings continue. Merrill?
Well, Ross, I've been taking a look at that storm in Butler County over the last several minutes, and the very southwest end, and if you've been in Kansas any amount of time, you know that that's a preferred location for tornadic development. Here's the good news. There's no indication right now, at least on radar, of significant rotation with that area of the storm. But as I watched it move up from the southwest through southern portions of Butler County, you could kind of see things kind of turning just a little bit on the radar echoes. But as we take a look at the wind indicators on there, no, there's really no good indication one direction or the other that there would be any rotation with that portion of the storm. So there may be something visible that might be rotating. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire thunderstorm is rotating. But as far as anything that would appear to be tornadic in nature, it's just not there with that storm to the south of Leon. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that continues to be the case with that storm. Ross?
And Merrill, it looked like a little earlier, we'll go back to a statewide view of the radar, because it looked to me like we did have a severe thunderstorm that popped up in the northern part of our area, northern part of Kansas, and that looks like it's a very small part there. That would be of Jewell County, kind of getting up into southern portions of Nebraska. So this just kind of sets the stage for how things are looking today. We've got isolated storms up here north of I-70, this big cluster of storms that goes all the way over into Topeka, and then this big batch of storms that we've been following now for quite some time in south central Kansas, and it goes all the way down into western sections of Oklahoma. So this is part of a big complex of storms that's going to be with us for a while tonight. You can see the severe weather continuing back into northwestern Oklahoma, and storms go all the way down to the west and southwest of Oklahoma City. As I let you watch the radar in motion here so you can see how things are progressing, everything moving to the northeast, and each one of these storms capable of producing some very large hail. The good news, the atmosphere today today, capable of producing hail up to 3 inches in diameter, but we have not had anything of that size. That's good news. Of course, hail can be very, very destructive. We spend a lot of our time investigating these storms for rotation and potential tornadoes, but we certainly never want to overlook the fact that, hail 3 inches in diameter, that's bad stuff. That can create some pretty significant damage on its own. So we are watching for that today. And a new severe thunderstorm warning now being issued down into northern Oklahoma. This, of course, for portions of Grant County and portions of Woods County, too. Looks like it's included in that warning off to the west of Medford. We're really looking at some pretty strong thunderstorms south of Alva. Here you can see Alfalfa County, Grant County, and Woods County. Now a severe thunderstorm warning until 6 o'clock this evening for these dangerous storms coming up from the south. Merrill?
Ross, we just got in a report of some quarter-sized hail about 3 miles east of Anthony. Now here's Anthony. You can see that storm over the eastern portions of Harper County. So the area of where we would have seen this quarter-sized hail would be where you see some of the pinks here off to the east of Anthony. Let me put things into motion, and you'll be able to see the movement. That area, of course, is under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, but there you can see for a little while there it was even showing a little bit of black within the pink areas. That's probably when the hail was falling. The report was from 4:50 this afternoon, so just under 10 minutes ago. So folks off to the northeast of that need to be alert, but there does seem to be a little bit of weakening now. May still be some smaller hail, maybe not quarter-sized, but nickel-sized hail still associated with that storm as it moves through the eastern portions of Harper County. Ross?
And Merrill, we're getting ready for our 5 o'clock newscast. We will, of course, continue our severe weather coverage as we watch the storms move through the area, and we're still concerned about large hail with just about any of the storms that have developed this afternoon. So let's go ahead and Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
All right, we want to welcome in our viewers to Eyewitness News at 5 here. Large hail, high winds. We did have a report of a tornado, several tornado warnings as the dangerous storms move through Kansas tonight.
That is right. Chief Meteorologist Russ Jansen leads our Storm Team 12 coverage. Ross, what's the latest?
Well, just as we come on the air here at 5 o'clock this evening, we got another report of some golf ball size hail 4 miles to the east of Clearwater. So we're talking about an area now impacting portions of northern Sumner County, getting up into southern sections of Sedgwick County. We'll switch over and we'll strip away a lot of these lower end echoes, if you will, so we can get a little better definition of what's taking place here in Sedgwick County, where a severe thunderstorm warning does continue here at this 5 o'clock hour. We've only had one brief tornado reported today. That was down near the Mayfield area in Sumner County. For right now, the situation in Sedgwick and northern Sumner County would indicate still some very large hail with these storms continuing to move to the north. You can see these darker shades of red coming back into the south side of Wichita, so we're definitely not out of the woods for more large hail. And once again, just at 4:56, just before the start here of our 5 o'clock newscast, we did get a report of some large hail that happening to the east of Clearwater. There you go, happening at 4:56, golf ball size hail. That is the largest hail report that I've seen from Sedgwick County all afternoon long. And as we've been mentioning with our storm coverage today, there is that possibility that hailstones could grow to be 3 inches in diameter. I hope we make it through the rest of the evening without hail of that magnitude, because that is destructive in and of itself, but still some very powerful storms. And as we simulcast with KFDI, the mobile units are out today helping too. Keep an eye on what's going on. For those that are driving around Wichita right now, heavy rainfall's coming back into the south side of the city. The larger hail that we're starting to sample with the Doppler radar is still, to me, looks like it's about 2 to 3 miles to the south of the city of Wichita. But this storm that's coming in from the south really looks like it's moving more to the north. So the strongest hail returns that I'm starting to see on the radar look to be about 5 or 6 miles straight south of the 235 loop around Wichita. And as that storm moves to the north at about 30 miles per hour, we can be expecting larger hail to move through the city really within the next 15, 20, even 30 minutes. And that storm looks like it will go right through downtown Wichita. So you've probably got about 15 minutes to get home, put your car in the garage, and hopefully protected from any of that larger hail that may fall from the storm that's coming back in from the south. Almost all of the storms today are either moving north or northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. And this is just one of several storms that we have out there today continuing to redevelop over south central Kansas and also down into northern Oklahoma. As we expand the radar view and kind of set everything up for you, we've got a storm coming into the south side of Wichita, more hail producing storms over into Butler County that continue to move to the northeast, and looking back to the south of Wichita, there are additional storms in eastern sections of Harper County, storms starting to come back into northwestern Sumner County, and then there are other big storms farther south and west down into northwestern sections of Oklahoma. So we have several more hours to go with severe weather in south central Kansas. It's going to take a little while for the threat to get east of us. That probably won't happen until midnight or there shortly after, but a lot of these storms producing hail today. That is our primary threat. Secondarily, there's that chance we could see an isolated tornado, but so far today, only one brief tornado reported, and that was near the Mayfield area, once again from portions of Sumner County. And these storms go all the way up into eastern portions of Marion County. Once again, tracking the threat for some large hail there. It looks to be like it's now to the east of Hillsboro, continuing to move up toward the Lincolnville area, and severe thunderstorm warnings continue for eastern sections of Marion County. As far as western Sedgwick County is concerned, things are quiet now, but we need to keep an eye on storms that are developing to the south of Iola, because those are coming back in from the southwest and will likely impact western Sedgwick County within the next 45 minutes to an hour. Storms are moving at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Large hail expected with any of the storms, and as they approach, stay indoors, stay away from windows, because large hail very likely with these storms as we continue across south central Kansas. Just recapping some of the information that we have. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for northwest Oklahoma, including Alfalfa and Grant counties. We also have the warning in effect for western Sumner County and eastern Harper County. The warning continues for portions of Sedgwick County too, and then we have warnings for Butler County as well as Marion County for severe weather that continues to move across the area. Let's go back to Mike and Melissa.
All right, thank you so much, Ross. We have Storm Team 12 coverage. We have our team spread out through the entire area, and right now we want to get an update on the Wichita schools.
Yeah, let's get out to Devin Fastbinder. Devin, what's the latest?
I'm here outside of Cloud Elementary School. You can see Cloud behind me right there. The latest update we have from Wichita Public Schools is that elementary students have been released from school. They've been released to get on the bus, to walk home, to go with their parents. Now, earlier this afternoon, Wichita Public Schools was holding some of those elementary school students because of some of that weather, but now they are being let to go home. Now, the school's spokesperson tells us that if there does become any kind of hail during those bus trips home, those bus drivers do know exactly what to do, so they will be prepared for any hail on the bus trip home. But with that impending weather just coming and coming consistently, the district says it wants children to be able to get home as quickly as possible. We'll bring you any more updates about the district as we get them.
And we are out here in Wellington. We've been out here all day long, all afternoon, watching a pretty impressive storm that was out here earlier. It has weakened and moved to the northeast at this point. We are taking a look at some of the storms that are smaller down to our southwest at this point. But so far, we're not seeing too much. Let me step out of the way and show you our vantage point here. We are just really looking at some rain in this area. We spent most of the day over on the west side, the far west side of Wellington, where we saw a lot of rotation, quite a few lowerings. We thought at times that it was going to drop a funnel, possibly even a tornado. We did not see that happen. There were a lot of people out on the road at that time, Highway 60 in the area. We actually moved out of the way because the conditions were getting worse and they were right over the top of us. So we have now moved to an area on the north side of Wellington. We are on North A Street, just south of East 30th Avenue right now. And this is our vantage point of that strong storm that moved through the area just a couple of hours ago, really even just until about 30 minutes ago. We are again going to be keeping an eye out on some of those storms that are moving up from the southwest, and if anything changes, we'll let you know.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Rachel Skida is in Mulvane right now as the storm comes up from the south. Rachel, what do you see there?
It's pretty
It's pretty quiet here right now. We're just west of Douglas along Santa Fe Lake Road. There was some light rain a little bit earlier, but other than that, not much where we are right now. Just to our west, you can see the sky is much darker over there. We can hear some thunder, and we have seen some pretty good lightning over there, and we expect that storm will be heading over this way shortly. Again, it's pretty quiet here right now where we are, but for now, we're going to sit tight and see what happens over here.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Cindy Close has been monitoring a lot of the things you've been sending in to us, Facebook, Twitter, email. Cindy, what's the latest?
Well, actually, lately I've been tracking the traffic, and as you mentioned, schools just let out, and I have seen a couple of school buses on the highways. But right now, things are looking pretty good. I've called up Which Way, which are the traffic cameras that are along all the Wichita highways. Right now, I'm on US 54, and that's about the most traffic I've seen right here at Seneca. But everything looks pretty quiet. About 4 o'clock today, the roads were getting pretty crowded, but we know a lot of businesses let people go home early, as well as schools closed early. But right now, things looking pretty quiet on the roads. We have seen a couple of school buses. Mike?
All right, thank you, Cindy. Emily Griffin following this storm from the southwest side of the system near the Clearwater area. Emily, what are you seeing there?
We started near Harper County and we're sort of on the back edge of the storm watching it go by. So we're really now sort of on the other side of Wellington near Highway 160 and Mayfield Road trying to get up to Clearwater. But you can see sort of what Lauren maybe has been seeing and what Ross has been talking about over near Wellington. Some of those darker clouds off in the distance. Haven't been able to see any definitive cloud formations or any sort of lowerings really from where we are. But when we stopped here a few minutes ago, I did see some of this hail that was just lying out in the grass from maybe part of that storm that had moved through maybe half an hour ago, but just a light sprinkle where we are right now and still pretty dark where we're standing. So we'll probably hang out here for a few more minutes and just try and kind of follow this storm from behind and eventually make it up into the Clearwater area where we're expecting some of those other storms that are developing to the south of us to eventually move up that way. And of course, we'll keep you posted on what we find.
All right, thanks, Emily. Before we go here, we do want to check in with our chasers, our storm chaser desk, monitored by Rodney Price. Rodney, what's the latest from there?
Well, I can tell you, Mike, that a lot of the guys are kind of in the process of kind of reorganizing as the storms are moving off to the north and east, and we've lost that tornado potential. We have seen that the guys are kind of scrambling around to get into some new areas. Could tell you Ed O'Neill and also Storm Team 12's chaser Eric Lynn heading towards those storms in Harper County. And Ed's video right now, you can, of course, check that out at KWCH.com. Before I get back here to the studio, I want to let you know we just got a report from Sedgwick County Emergency Management of golf ball-sized hail, 55th Street South and Ridge, about 2 miles northwest of Hayesville, just about coming up on 2 minutes ago. Some rather large hail in that area. Warning continues until 5:45. Guys?
All right, Rodney, thank you. We've been watching those hail reports, and we're still watching dangerous storms form over Kansas right now. Ross joins us with a quick update.
Okay, well, just some of the most recent information coming in. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for Harper and Sumner County, taking us until 6 o'clock. We also got some more big hail to report coming out of Sedgwick County, so let's bring you up to the current time and zoom back in on Sedgwick County. This report coming from down near the Hayesville area, and it was reported to be golf ball size. Now, that will match our largest hail report of the day. That's going to be this little icon that has just popped up in the last couple minutes. Once again, coming from trained spotters, and we believe that the hail size is perhaps growing now in the southern part of the county, and so that's something we're going to have to be watching for. These storms are just rapidly exploding this afternoon, and they're developing 60,000 feet into the air, and of course the taller the storm, the more likely it is we're going to get some of that larger hail. But this is the most recent report from Sedgwick County, 506 near Hayesville, near 55th Street and Ridge Road. Golf ball size hail has been confirmed, and that storm, as you watch the radar in motion, and then we'll take these icons off of here so you can see a little bit better definition of the storm. Looks like it's taking more of a northerly turn. We need to be bracing for perhaps golf ball size hail in downtown Wichita. We really haven't had that many hail reports on the east side of the city, and that's encouraging news. But now the storm's kind of reorganizing and starting to take more of a turn to the north, so it's very possible that bad timing for rush hour, we may be dealing with some of that larger hail here in the next little while. We'll take off those little icons so we can see the darker shades of red that are showing up here just to the west of Derby, to the south of downtown Wichita, and we'll back the radar out and put a storm track on this so you can get also get a better idea of what we're looking at here. Very heavy rainfall coming down. It's starting to pick up in intensity here at our Channel 12 studios as well. So we know that the rain continues to make its way across the city. Let's put a quick storm track on the leading edge of some of that stronger returns here for hail. And we're looking at downtown Wichita here in the next couple minutes. Larger hail coming in. KWCH 532 and perhaps getting into Newton at 606. We'll continue to monitor the situation here in south central Kansas. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with more storm coverage here in just a second.
Expect more from KWCH 12. This is Eyewitness News at 5 in high definition online at KWCH.com. Follow KWCH on Facebook and Twitter. You're watching KWCH 12 Eyewitness News, the #1 5 o'clock newscast.
Closed captioning brought to you by Immediate Medical Care. Walk in, no appointment needed.
The National Weather Service just tweeting that large hail is about to hit downtown and East Wichita, so take precautions now. Let's take a look at some of the hail pictures that we got in earlier. This one is nickel-sized hail. I don't have all the locations. We'll just enjoy the pictures that we have. Most of them have been at least quarter-sized hail that we got in today. This one looks pretty big, though, about golf ball-sized. That was starting to melt as they took the picture for us, but you get an idea of the hail that was coming in. This is looked like pea-sized hail on a deck in Wichita. Back to quarter-sized hail, and we'll end on this shot. It looks like to be about golf ball-sized hail, but you can't tell. So we ask if you do take a picture of hail, put it next to something for a reference point so we can tell just how big it is. Mike?
All right, thanks, Cindy. Let's go over to Ross.
All right, let's get an update here on the severe weather situation starting to basically continuing to move across the area. And we're getting large hail now reported in Wichita and portions of south central Sedgwick County. We've had a couple reports of at least golf ball size hail in the last 10 minutes. That report coming in just east of Clearwater. The core of that storm now coming across the city as we speak. This is bad timing for evening rush hour. We are about to see some large hail, golf ball size, at least 2 reports in just the last 5 minutes coming in with the storm east of Clearwater to the west and just to the southwest of the Hayesville area. You can follow that red core as it continues to work its way into the city. Now kind of on the leading edge there at 235 coming up from the south. Downtown Wichita likely experience some large hail here momentarily. So although we've kind of dodged a bullet with a couple different rounds of storms moving through, again, large hail coming in from the south right now. Let's take a short break. Eyewitness News will continue with more storm coverage right after this.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
Coming up on 5:19 here on a Tuesday afternoon, we've got some very strong indications on HD Super Doppler. Very large hail likely with the storm near Hayesville, and it's coming into the south side of Wichita right now. We've had a couple different reports of at least golf ball size hail, but we are getting some other indications on radar that would indicate hail that might even be larger than that. So that is definitely a concern here as we watch the storm get ready to move across the city of Wichita. And we bring on some of our hail indicators here, and this little stripe would indicate hail size just a little bit smaller than golf balls, but we go with the ground truth reports that we've gotten, and that would indicate that we've at least had 2 different reports of some of that larger hail about ready to move through the city of Wichita. And as we check some of the recent reports just trickling in here, here's a report of quarter-size hail. This reported at 47th West and South Broadway. That coming in just a couple minutes ago. And then let's see what other kind of hail reports we can get. There's golf ball size hail. That reported just after the top of the 5 o'clock hour. One of the strongest hail indicators showing up on the south side of town, and that's continuing to move to the north. So be prepared for hailstones that might be 2 inches in diameter, maybe even a little larger than that. Now, I will say we have not had 2-inch hail reported yet, but there is that potential with this storm moving across the city of Wichita. Bad timing for the evening rush hour as the severe thunderstorm warning does continue for much of Sedgwick County. As we kind of examine other storms in the area, we've got severe weather that takes us all the way back down into northern Oklahoma. By the way, this storm just to the west of Medford has shown some indications of rotation, and a big cluster of storms continuing right up the Kansas Turnpike. Large hail, the main threat with these big storms that continue to form and move across south central Kansas. Take a short break. Eyewitness News at 5 will continue right this.
All right, heavy rain right now moving into our studios here on the north side of Wichita. National Weather Service warning large hail through other parts of Wichita. Let's get you another storm report from out there. Akeem Ashford is near the town of Milton. Akeem, where exactly are you and what are you seeing there?
Mike, yeah, that's right. We're here about 10 minutes north of Milton. At first, we started out this afternoon in Kingman. We spoke to several people who were preparing this afternoon for those storms to move in. But I want to show you what we're seeing right now. Just pan over here to my left. Now that you're looking southeast, we were starting to drive into Milton on Argonia, North Argonia, and we kind of came into a lot of rain and lightning, and we were trying to get up a shot for you, so we had to come further north. So back over in here is where all of that rain is happening. And let's pan you over here to the left. You're looking more or less towards Conway Springs. Just where I was standing just a few minutes ago, there was a lot of lightning back off into the distance back there. A lot of rain starting to produce, a lot of heavy winds where we are right now. We haven't seen any hail, but we have seen rain and heavy winds where we are. We will continue to stay here and bring you the latest developments as we get them.
All right, thank you, Akeem. Let's send it back over to Ross Jansen with an update.
Okay, Mike, we're just getting another report of some golf ball size hail. This at 55th and Broadway. So that's report number 3, maybe 4 in just the last 15 minutes of large hail. And there are a lot of indicators on the radar which would suggest that large hail continuing to be the primary threat as these storms continue to work their way in from the south. We'll take off these larger icons here so we can get better definition of the storm. The dark shades of red here indicated on the radar indicating the very heavy rainfall, the large hail now, 3 reports in just the last 10 to 15 minutes of very large hail, golf ball size, and the core of that storm continuing to work its way right across the city of Wichita and eventually KWCH. We're hearing the rain here at our Channel 12 studios, the hail not far behind, and that will likely be picking up here within the next 15 minutes. A short break now. We'll come back and recap some of the other warnings that we have for you today.
Get all the latest breaking news and weather at KWCH.com.
Officials at McConnell Air Force Base hope to avoid scenes like these today. This video shot at Kansas City International this morning shows hail coming down onto airplanes parked on the tarmac. Dee Sun tells us the Air Force is taking steps to make sure the air tankers are safe from the storm. Dee.
Melissa, right now it is hailing outside our station. We're seeing about some pea-sized hail, and so what we've done is try to move as many station news cars as we can into this garage. And at McConnell Air Force Base, they've moved what planes they could into hangars, but with their big tanker aircraft, they couldn't do that. And so today was all about aircraft evacuation. One after another, these KC-135 tanker planes are getting out of Mother Nature's way.
We've got, as the guys like to say, a lot of iron, talking about the 135s out there. Very, very expensive and valuable asset to the Air Force, and we're trying to protect that resource.
The purpose of these planes, refueling other aircraft mid-flight, and they cost $54 million apiece. The tankers are headed for either Fairchild, Washington State, or Grand Forks in North Dakota, and there's a crew of at least 5 on each plane.
It is a tough decision to make. It's kind of daunting to say, okay, we're going to move $1 billion worth of assets to another part of the country. So yes, it is. Don't walk into it lightly, definitely.
The evacuation does provide another benefit.
We get vital training, great training out of this too. So it's not a loss at all for our resources to go off and do this. Our air crews get training, takeoffs and landings.
But the primary goal is safety.
That is today's mission, to keep these assets safe and take care of our people.
The hail right now is just coming down in spurts. Right now it's a little hard to tell that it's hailing, but then again here you see it. The hail is about pea-sized right now and just bouncing off of the backs of our station vehicles. And so I can imagine certainly if it gets any larger than this, any car that's out there in the elements and not under a covering or not under covered parking might be taking quite a beating tonight. I'm already starting to feel a little bad for our news cars out there. But as for those tanker planes, some of those planes will be returning to the Air Force Base tomorrow, depending on the forecast, and others will be continuing on to other missions.
All right, thank you, Dee. Let's get an update now on the Wichita school situation. USD 259 did hold elementary students. They released late, about 4:10 in the afternoon. They held those buses. They waited for a break from these storms, so they did release the students. On the phone again, Susan Arnsman with USD 259. Susan, are there still buses out there that you're concerned about?
Yeah, right now we have some areas of the city that are getting hail, so some of the buses are pulling over. And so it will be a little later for some of the students to be delivered. So we just ask parents to be patient, and we're making sure that our kids are safe.
Okay, and are parents, how's the best way that you can communicate with parents? Just stay tuned into the news, or are you calling them also?
Right now we're just asking parents to kind of wait and see, and if they have any concerns, they can call their school. We're asking for principals to stay until we get the all clear from first students, so that if there are any questions that they might be able to answer them for right now. But right now we're trying to get them home as fast as we can with the weather conditions. Plus, it's getting to be showers, so there's a lot of cars on the road. So it just is taking us a little while.
All right, Susan Arnsman with UST 259. Thank you so much for that update as those school buses try to make it home. But again, if you're just joining us, those elementary students, some of them still held up as those buses are forced to pull over in some of this large hail. Let's get an update on exactly where that hail is falling. Let's send it back over to Ross.
Well, Mike, we just got a report of ping pong ball size hail falling in College Hill. We've also had a report of 2-inch hail 5 miles to the west of Mulvane. This storm moving across the city of Wichita has a history of producing some very large hail, and now we're starting to see those darker shades of red move up here toward the KWCH area, Bel Air. Wouldn't be surprised to be getting some at least golf ball size hail in some of those areas here shortly. We've heard some small pieces of ice hitting our Channel 12 studio here at 37th Street North and Hillside, and as we take the radar and go just a little bit farther north with it, you can see that storm continuing to hold together. A lot of hail falling in downtown Wichita right now, continuing on that northerly movement. The warning for Sedgwick County goes until 5:45. It will probably be extended based on the reports that continue to trickle in, which would indicate that there's still quite a bit of large hail falling with this storm, and it does continue on that northeasterly track. So large hail falling again. If you just missed it, we've had ping pong ball size hail measured now, confirmed from the College Hill area, and also we've had some 2-inch hail. That's the largest hailstone we've received today, at least the report that we've received, and that happening 5 miles to the west of Mulvane. So that's just one of many thunderstorms that we're watching for you right now. Severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Sedgwick County until 5:45 as we watch the severe threat continue to work its way through south central Kansas. We're going to go back to the south because we've got another thunderstorm that has caught our attention, and it's the one that's been coming up out of northern Oklahoma. And that's this big storm down here just to the west of Caldwell. You can see this little notch that's showing up on the radar once again. This is some of the same areas that we saw earlier today get the first tornado warning. We had several reports of rotating wall clouds and funnels, and now we've got another big storm coming up from the south that looks like it may have some rotation with it straight to the west of Caldwell. As we bring you up to the current time, let's see if we can find anything when we switch over into the wind mode of Doppler radar. By the way, the picture over there on the side of the screen, that for Skycam, looks like we do have some rotation right on the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. That would put it straight to the west-southwest of Caldwell. So let's keep an eye on what develops out of that thunderstorm as we go through the next little while, because in addition to the threat for large hail, now starting to see a tightening circulation there in the southwest corner of Sumner County. And we still have a lot of thunderstorm activity underway here at this 5:30. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. 5:30 in the evening, still with quite a number of thunderstorms working their way through the area. So it goes all the way down into northwest Oklahoma, right up through the city of Wichita. And these storms actually continue back to the north of Wichita as well. You can see as we go north of town, we've had some severe weather moving through Marion County. These storms go all the way up then into the Topeka area. By the way, if you've got friends and family in Topeka, that would be Shawnee County, has been in a tornado warning. There was some rotation spotted west side of Topeka. So just another area that we continue to at least keep some attention focused on for those that may have friends and family in Topeka. We'll take away these boxes so we can get a little cleaner look here at the radar. And once again, you can see stretching all the way from northern Oklahoma right through Wichita up to the north and west of the Kansas Turnpike. We're dealing with thunderstorms, producing some very large hail. Occasionally, we get a storm that rotates and exhibits enough rotation to prompt a tornado warning, but it's probably been almost an hour now since we've had a tornado warning in our coverage area, but we can't rule that out because the winds in the atmosphere are going to start getting stronger here within the next 2 to 3 hours. So the window of opportunity for isolated tornadoes will certainly extend beyond 6 and 7 o'clock. So we'll definitely keep a watchful eye out for that. But this big storm here in Sedgwick County, warning continues for 10 more minutes. Once again, some of the most recent reports come in. Let me just check to see if we have anything additional. Some quarter-size hail. And now from South Wichita, emergency manager reporting at Pawnee and Interstate 135 of more golf ball size hail. So this is really just a very strong thunderstorm continuing to move to the north. Downtown Wichita hit with some large hail, and now we'll probably start to see some of that coming into Park City, Keachai, and maybe even there too. Be bracing for hailstones that might get up to golf ball size with that northeasterly. Warning again continues for Sedgwick County until 5:45, and looking back to the south again, more thunderstorms starting to develop and moving to the northeast at close to 30 miles per hour. Let's check in with Rodney Price standing by at the Chaser desk.
All right, thanks a lot there, Ross. We're tracking the storms there that you just mentioned there right along the Kansas-Oklahoma border. Activity there just off to the west of Caldwell. Can tell you a couple of our chasers right now, Scott Roberts, also Ed O'Neill, getting down in that area of the storm. Ed just a little bit ago, about 2 minutes ago, reported that he could see a large wall cloud to his southwest, west of Caldwell. That was about 5:34, so just 2 minutes ago there. Again, we're watching their feeds right now very carefully. If we see anything on here, we'll definitely let you know, guys.
All right, Rodney, thank you. And just as you were talking, we hear a hail, much larger hailstones hitting the top of our studios here at KWCH on the north side of Wichita. And we know Dee Dee's son is outside our studios right now, and she can probably vouch for us how large it is. Dee Dee, what are you seeing?
We're seeing about smaller than dime-sized hail, but much larger than pea-sized. And so we actually just had to step a couple of feet inside this overhang here in our garage because that hail is being blown by the wind, and it's coming down at a much faster pace than it was just even a couple of minutes ago. And this hail is consistent hail. Earlier we were seeing it in spurts and they're pea-sized, but this hail is consistent hail coming down hard and really pelting our news cars that are at the back of the garage here. And so for any cars that are outside and not under protection, I can imagine some damage being done by some of these hail pieces, because we are seeing some that are maybe about dime-sized, and they're bouncing off the cars and coming towards us right now. And at this point, still consistent, again, about pea-sized to even dime-sized hail that we're seeing, and coming down very fast and very strong. No signs of letting up that I can see in front of my eyes. And we'll give you another live look in just a couple of minutes here.
All right, thank you, Dee Dee. Again, our location 135 and K96 right in that region. We do know golf ball size hail widespread around the city. Let's get another report right now from Devin Fastbinder on the northwest side of town. Devin, what are you seeing there?
I'm in northwest Wichita right now where the rain is picking up and so is the hail. I'm going to turn this around so you can see what I'm looking at right now. The hail falling, it's getting bigger. It started out kind of pea-sized hail, but now some of these pieces are getting a little bit larger. I'm hearing them bouncing off my umbrella, and they're definitely getting bigger as they continue to fall. You can see them bouncing off of our live van right now. It's definitely getting more severe here in Wichita. We've got some flooding that's been going on too. As we've been out here, we've seen some cars flying through that heavy water that's on the roads. We want to encourage you not to do that. Stay away from those flooded areas. You've heard the saying, turn around, don't drown. We've also heard from the Wichita School District that some of the buses have been stopping, going off to the side of the road because there's just too much hail, and they will only return when it is safe. So again, stay away from those flooded areas. We do have some hail coming down now in Wichita. It does seem to be getting bigger. So if you can stay out of this storm, I'll advise that you definitely stay out of it.
All right, thanks, Devin. Let's get the latest track from Ross.
All right, Mike, we just got a report 3 miles west of Derby, some 2-inch hail there. We've also had 2-inch hail now reported, this coming from Douglas and Hillside. So the storm producing some larger hail. This is a storm that Rodney was talking about just to the west of Caldwell. There seems to be some rotation with that particular storm, and as it continues to move to the northeast, not a guarantee, but a possibility that we might see something develop out of that. We're going to bring the radar back into Sedgwick County because it's certainly very noisy, and we've had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued now for portions of Sedgwick County. It does include northwestern Butler County. Central and eastern sections of Harvey County goes right up into the southwest corner of Marion County. And you can see what we're looking at here is a pretty large thunderstorm continuing to work its way across the city of Wichita. We've had at least 3 reports now at last count of 2-inch hail coming from Sedgwick County. The most recent report from Douglas and Hillside. Of course, 2-inch hail is going to be somewhat destructive, so stay indoors and stay away from windows. We have to be very careful with these storms because when you start getting hailstones, golf ball and larger, it can start breaking out some windows. Now, we haven't had anything like that reported But we did get that 2-inch hail report once again from Douglas and Hillside. These storms are moving northeast at close to 25, 30 miles per hour, and we're not done. This is not the last of the severe weather for Sedgwick County, because as you look back to the southwest, additional thunderstorms appear to be coming our way. So let's take the radar and go in that direction. Pretty strong thunderstorm moving over Viola. And then once we get down into Sumner County, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. But we did see at least some rotation noted with that storm to the west of Caldwell. So as we switch our back into the wind mode, looks like it's about 4 or 5 miles straight west of Caldwell. That looks like a suspicious area that definitely bears watching, certainly as the storm continues to show some signs of rotation there. We also have other weather occurring just to the east of Anthony, back down into northern sections of Oklahoma near Manchester, Oklahoma. All of this pushing to the northeast. So we're going to be at this for a while, as the hail sounds like it's getting a little bit larger here at our Channel 12 studios. And it often sounds a lot larger than it actually is, but it is getting a little bit noisy here at 37th and Hillside on the north side of town. So scattered storms work their way right up through the city of Wichita, continuing off to the northeast of town. Severe thunderstorms producing large hail appears to be the imminent threat. Let's go back to Rodney at the Chaser desk.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ross. We're tracking that storm that you mentioned to the west of Caldwell. That's where we have Storm Team 12 Chaser Scott Roberts. His video right now showing a little bit of a lowered area showing up right now. That's an area of concern. There's no tornado warning or anything like that, but certainly some rotation. And also, yeah, you can see a little bit of an appendage there that was showing up on radar just a bit ago. We're looking off to the southwest there from his vantage point there and watching this storm with great interest. Again, no tornado warning that's in effect right now. Just watching it, see if anything happens with that particular part of the storm as it moves just across the Kansas line now, just immediately to the west and northwest of the Caldwell, Kansas area. Ross?
Okay, just some new information on warnings that have been already underway, but Chase and Marion County have been canceled from the warning, but there are additional storms in the area, so we definitely can't let our guard down just yet. We are looking at live pictures on the other side of our screen from northwest Wichita. That's kind of on the western fringe of the core of this storm. The worst of it really looks like it's passing over the eastern half of Wichita, getting up into the northeast corner of Sedgwick County. So this is kind of a broader scale of what's going on right now. We'll strip away those little icons that have been popping up so you can see what we're looking at, stretching all the way from northern Oklahoma right up through the city of Wichita. Let's go back in tighter on what's underway here in Sedgwick County, and you can see that now the darker shades of red are right over K96 up toward Keachai and Bel Air. In fact, we'll go in even tighter so you can see, and there's Andover here. This would be K96, and we're watching this storm move to the northeast, producing large hail. The largest hail reports that we've been able to get confirmed 2-inch in diameter, that coming from Douglas and Hillside, and then we had another 2-inch hail report that was happening to the west of Derby. Obviously, based on the radar replay, that would have been several minutes ago that report or that confirmed hail would have taken place. So keep an eye out for this storm still moving to the northeast. Merrill, you've got some additional details.
Well, I just looked out the window, Ross, and it sounds pretty bad here at our Channel 12 studios. It's mostly pea to maybe marble-sized hail, but it's falling at a much faster rate, and there are just a lot more of them, and so it sounds a lot worse over here. Here's one other thing that we have to start thinking about as we've been tracking things over the last several hours. A lot of these storms have been following what we call a training effect, where one follows right after the next, and kind of like it's all on the same rail. And coming up from northwestern Oklahoma, right through portions of Harper and Sumner County, right into downtown Wichita, we're seeing radar indications of already 2 to 3 inches of rain in some of the darker green areas that you see on here. What does that lead to? The possibility of flooding. Street flooding for sure if you're in one of the areas where some of these downpours are occurring, but it could become a little bit more widespread as these storms continue to move on to the northeast. And not that I want to bring any more bad news, but look at this. We've still got more storms all the way back into Alfalfa and Grant County, Oklahoma. They're all still on that same line from southwest to northeast, which means more possibilities over the course of the next several hours that we could be looking at some potential flooding problems, more than just your local West Street on the west side of town or Bleckley on the east side of town, which means if you have plans for traveling tonight, please use extra caution. If you come to a roadway that is covered in water, you know what we say. Yeah, turn around, don't drown. Ross?
And these thunderstorms continue to fester right over south central Kansas, so we're going to be at this for a little while longer because this is not the last of the severe weather that we're going to be seeing here in Sedgwick County. We'll back the radar out and just kind of set everything up for you. If you're just now joining our coverage here on a Tuesday evening, we've had severe weather that started at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Our first tornado warning was Sumner County. That's an area that we're really watching this suspect storm now to the west of Caldwell with rotation once again, and these storms just kind of lined up with severe thunderstorm warnings that continue for large hail. Let's check back in again with Mike and Melissa.
All right, thank you so much, Ross. And last time we checked in with Devin Fassbinder, we heard that the buses that were carrying some elementary school students were pulled over on the side of the road because of hail.
Yeah, they're still trying to get a lot of those Wichita elementary students home. They had held the buses up. Again, if your child is not home yet, they are safe. We talked to USD 259. They are safe. A lot of those buses just had to pull over to the side of the road, wait out this heavy rain, and of course wait out this big hail. Let's get out for another report from Northwest Wichita, Devin Fassbinder. Devin?
I'm here in Northwest Wichita where we've got some of that hail subsiding, but these roads are extremely flooded. We've been watching people driving through this intersection here in Northwest Wichita, some going slow, some just flying through. We want to advise you to do neither. Do not go through some of these flooded areas, but just to get an idea of exactly how flooded this is, I'll turn this camera around so you can see as I step into it how flooded the streets are at this point. It comes up to about my ankles. I'll watch some cars as they, again, fly through this intersection. That's not what you want to do. You could stall out your vehicle. But again, another look at just the flooding that's been going on. We've seen this around Northwest Wichita. It appears that the rain and the hail have subsided for now, but it's still not a safe place to be driving. So if you're going to be out, just keep an eye on the roads and do not drive into some of these heavily flooded areas.
Devin Fassbinder, that is a good reminder for sure. Okay, I believe we're heading over to Ross with another look at the weather. Ross.
And Melissa, just recapping the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. We're getting closer to 6 o'clock in the evening, and there's still quite a bit of thunderstorms redeveloping over the area. Things are going to begin to calm down a little bit here in Wichita for right now. But as you look back to the southwest, we've got another thunderstorm here in western Sumner County, more storms in Harper County, just kind of redeveloping along this track that would still bring them up toward the city of Wichita. So if you're dealing with some flooding now, there may be 15, 20 minutes or so where the water can start to go down, but just as it starts to go down, more rain coming back in from the southwest. And each one of these storms lined up along our track this evening could potentially produce hail 2 inches in diameter. We had a number of those reports coming in from the city of Wichita. So let's bring you up to the current time, and we'll start our storm coverage here on the south end of this line of storms and work our way to the north, because there are a whole bunch of them, and each one of them still capable of producing some very large hail. So now we're on the Kansas-Oklahoma state line here to the south of Anthony. This is the southeast corner of Harper County, tracking storms that could potentially produce at least some of these storms, maybe golf ball size hail here to the south of Anthony. Those storms are going to continue to work their way to the northeast. Now, western sections of Sumner County still under a severe thunderstorm warning for the potential of large hail. That appears to be the primary threat here just to the north of Caldwell. But this is also a storm that has exhibited some signs of rotation just north and west of the Caldwell area. We checked in with Rodney about 5 minutes ago. He said that after visiting with one of the storm chasers, I believe Scott Roberts is in that area, he was seeing a little bit of a lowering, but nothing more than that. Those storms are still moving to the north. And once we get up into Sedgwick County, you can see our big hail producing storm. At least 2-inch hail reported from Douglas and Hillside. That was the last report of significant hail that we had, is now getting into the northeast corner of the county. But looking back to the southwest, just through Viola, another storm coming in from the southwest. Now, for right now, we would anticipate hailstones with these storms to be smaller than 1 inch in diameter. But given the nature of the atmosphere today, stronger winds are just now coming into the atmosphere. There's a possibility those storms could increase in intensity, and we'll wait and watch and see what happens there. Now, once we get north and east of Wichita, you can see some very heavy rainfall. These storms have started to show some signs of weakening now in the southern portion of Chase County. but very heavy rainfall, some small hail to the south of Elmdale. And once we work our way up into portions of Morris County, more heavy rainfall. There you can see some severe weather occurring to the north of Emporia. Those storms also moving to the northeast. So there's still, for right now, the biggest storms occurring right in the Wichita area, including this one in the northeastern part of the county. There is a warning for central and eastern Harvey County, which officially includes Newton, but you can see based on the track that that storm is taking, looks like it will stay well to the east of Newton and well to the northwest of El Dorado. By the way, El Dorado not included in a severe thunderstorm warning, but continuing to the northeast at roughly 30 to 40 miles per hour. And once again, still watching what's going on here in Sedgwick County. More heavy rainfall starting to come back in from the southwest. Devin Fastbinder monitoring the road conditions throughout the city of Wichita. Let's go back out to her for her live report.
Though the rain has subsided for a little bit, the flooding is definitely increasing here in northwest Wichita. You can see as these cars go through this intersection just how flooded the area is. We're advising everybody to stay out of these flooded areas. Do not speed through them. Do not go slowly through them. Just stay out of them. They could be very dangerous to your vehicle. I will turn the camera around just so you can see exactly how flooded this area is. I'll take a few steps in it in my rain boots. It comes now just above my ankles at this point, and this is the intersection in northwest Wichita. We've got Arkansas Road here, so if you're out in this area, you're going to want to avoid some of these heavily flooded intersections. You can see from my feet just how flooded they are. That's not something you want to drive your vehicle into. We'll stick out here to watch the flooding and see how high it's getting and bring you the very latest live on air.
All right, a lot of this couldn't come at a worse time because, of course, it is rush hour as people try to get home from school and work. Let's check in with Cindy Close, who's monitoring some of the traffic around town.
And, Mike, you can really tell where it's raining because the picture gets really cloudy. This is K96 in Woodlawn, and this is also K96 at Rock Road. And this was just a few minutes ago, and you can see how cloudy the picture is. But when the storms move through, let me go back to, let's see. Sorry, it took a little bit to get there. US 54. Once the storm moves through, things clear up and traffic is beginning to pick up again. Just a few minutes ago, these roads were pretty much deserted, but be sure to take caution. As Devin said, there's flooding out there, and also it's difficult to see, and watch out for standing water. Back to Mike and Melissa.
All right, thank you so much, Cindy. And we'll send it on over to Ross. Hey, Ross.
We'll take it from here. We got a report of some quarter-size hail near 45th and Woodlawn, that coming from Bel Air. That was the last report of hail that we had out of Wichita. But now, brand new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for parts of Sumner County, right up through much of central and western Sedgwick County. That will take us until 6:45. Storms are tracking to the northeast. Once again, we told you that we were watching storms coming through Viola. Now, we haven't had any hail reports from Viola to get some kind of indication of what we might be looking at in West Wichita, but Devin Fastbinder, being on the west side of town, is probably going to get a pretty good view of this storm and also be able to tell us what falls there. Other than just some heavy rainfall, there is that potential of more hail now coming back into the southwest side of Wichita and certainly the west side of town, likely experiencing some heavy rainfall and perhaps some small hail there. Once again, this brand new warning, it does include northwestern Sumner County, much of central portions of Sedgwick County. This was going to take us until 6:45. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, anticipating more large hail that could be on the way for portions of Sedgwick County. Let's very quickly, we'll take another look at what's developing to the south of Sedgwick County, because we do have additional severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for portions of southwest and western Sumner County, and additional storms coming into southeastern Harper County, all of them capable of producing more hail. Let's go back to the anchor desk.
All right, thank you so much, Ross. And I know that we have some storm chasers out there south of Sedgwick County right now, keeping an eye on that storm that's developing down there.
Now let's send it back to the chaser desk with Rodney Price. Rodney?
Well, Mike, we're looking at Scott Roberts' video right now as we look off to the in southwestern parts of Sumner County. Can't tell you, Scott let me know just a couple of minutes ago that he did have a pretty nicely organized wall cloud a little while ago, but it's starting to fall apart just a little bit. Certainly some rain-free area that continues to show up there. Scott right now is just about, I'm going to do a little mileage calculation here. He's about 7 miles to the north-northwest of Caldwell, so he's looking kind of off to the, I believe he's looking off to the west at this point at that part of the storm there. Again, a little bit of a lowering, has become a little less organized though in, say, the past 2 to 4 minutes. Ross?
Okay, thanks very much, Rodney. We're just looking at the overall storms here coming in from the south because we've got additional hail-producing storms working their way out of Oklahoma up into south central Kansas. I'll take you back to a statewide view of the radar, and we'll show you what we're anticipating as we move into the rest of the evening hours. And as we mentioned a little earlier, we were expecting that we're probably going to be at this for a little while because the atmosphere just isn't going to cool off just yet with respect to severe weather potential. And we'll bring in some model data, and what this is going to show us is that over the next several hours, we're anticipating additional storms to continue to develop and move through the area. So this is 8 o'clock in the evening. You can see some of the expansive areas of rainfall, and it's regenerating some rain in western Kansas. Those are going to be non-severe thunder showers, so we're not expecting severe weather in western Kansas tonight. That will be rain that redevelops later in the night, but our severe weather threat will continue, especially for those areas along and east of Interstate 135. So continuing at least for the next 4 to 6 hours, that potential for hail-producing storms, at least an isolated tornado, cannot be ruled out. But once again, taking you through 7, 8 o'clock this evening, you can see that northeasterly movement on all of the heavy showers and storms across the area. Just part of this storm system that's slow moving, producing heavy rainfall, and at least up until 10, 11 o'clock tonight, that chance for severe weather, including large hail with some of these storms coming back in from the southwest. We'll go back over to the regular mode of radar, and once again, the picture that you're looking at there on the side of your screen, people doing what they should not do, and that's driving through flooded streets. We saw this happen a couple weeks ago down in Houston. There were at least a half a dozen people that lost their life driving through flooded roadways. You just never know exactly how deep the water may be. And if that fast-moving water washes out part of the road, you end up driving into something that might be a significant pothole. Your car stalls. You've got some even bigger problems then. So don't drive through a flooded road. We can't stress it enough. Once again, we go back to the radar and we can see this impressive line of thunderstorms stretching from northern Oklahoma right through south central Kansas all the way up into the Topeka area. Earlier we mentioned that there was a tornado warning in effect for Shawnee County, including the city of Topeka. No reports of damage. That warning has since been allowed to expire. But big thunderstorms continue right over south central Kansas, at least for our coverage area. The northern extent of the severe weather for right now stretches up into portions of, see, this would be Harvey County over into northwestern Butler County, and it does clip southern Marion County, although there's no severe weather occurring right now in Marion County, so some encouraging news there. But look at all of these storms working their way to the northeast. So we're getting closer to our 6 o'clock newscast, in which we'll continue with our severe weather coverage. It's been a very active afternoon with severe thunderstorms. We've had at least one tornado report, that happening near the Mayfield area in Sumner County. Fortunately for right now, even though we do see some weak rotation with storms, especially this one here in western sections of Sumner County, there's not a tornado warning. It's a severe thunderstorm anticipating large hail, but storms continue to work their way from south to the north, and severe thunderstorm warnings continue here as we close in on 6 o'clock this evening. We've had some pretty big hail reported in Wichita. The newest severe thunderstorm warning for Sedgwick County till 6:45, expecting that we might see some more 1-inch hail with storms coming back into the west side of the city. So be on the lookout for that. But everything on radar continuing to show that north movement at about 25 to 35 miles per hour. Eyewitness News at 6 begins now with more severe weather coverage.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
All right, welcome into Eyewitness News at 6. We have seen rain, we have seen hail across Kansas this afternoon, tornadoes also possible with this storm system. This video from Sumner County shows clouds lowering in a funnel forming early this afternoon. Many of you have sent us your storm shots of hail we saw here in Wichita. And Melissa, hail really is the big story right now.
It's the big threat at this moment, and our team has you covered as we track the storm. Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen has the latest on the storm. Ross.
Well, Mike and Melissa, we have still several counties under severe thunderstorm warnings here at the 6 o'clock hour, including Sedgwick County. The warning till 6:45. The warnings actually start in southern Marion County. We have included in the warning eastern Harvey County, northwestern Butler County, much of Sedgwick County. The warnings continue down into Sumner County, and it does look like it clips the southeast corner of Harper County, and warnings go all the way down into northwestern sections of Oklahoma. Let's start first on the northern end of this line of storms, and then we'll work our way to the south. And let me just show you that we still have some pretty intense thunderstorms to the north of El Dorado Lake, strong thunderstorms to the west of Potwin here. As we watch the radar in replay, just about any of these storms are going to be capable of hailstones between 1 to 2 inches in diameter. And we've had so many reports of that already today, and it's not over with yet because there's just still so much humidity in the atmosphere, and we think that those hail-producing storms will continue. Into Sedgwick County we go. There is a warning in effect until 6:45. Looks like we've got some new hail information popping up there on the screen, so let's check it out here as we come on the air at 6 o'clock this evening with the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Quarter-size hail happening just literally a couple minutes ago from West Wichita near Central and Ridge. So no big surprise there because we definitely anticipate that there will be some additional hail with these storms as they continue to work their way through. We'll get to the south of Wichita here. Pretty good thunderstorm there to the south of Conway Springs. That's the one that has had some rotation with it, and more strong thunderstorms in the southeast corner of Harper County. Our coverage continues now. Let's send it over to Merrill Teller.
All righty, Ross, thank you very much. And we continue to monitor all of this thunderstorm activity. Now, in a sense, there's some good news, especially for folks off to the northeast, as storms have weakened as they move northeastward out of the area. But you can see we still have severe thunderstorm warnings that stretch from Sumner County all the way on up into the southwestern sections of Marion County. Now, nothing going on in Marion County right now, but several of these storms, and let me put things into motion here, they're all still pretty much moving to the northeast. But notice we did, as the storms were moving through Wichita, we had all those reports of up to golf ball and even slightly larger than golf ball sized hail, hen egg sized hail, as a matter of fact, with all that pink in there. Well, all of a sudden, we're not seeing as much of the pink. Don't be deceived, because one of the heavier thunderstorms is actually sitting right over Eisenhower Airport, where the National Weather Service radar is, and you get so much rain in that localized area of the radar, you maybe lose some of the radar beam that's going out further from the location. And so I think we may just be seeing a little of what we call attenuation. There's a weakening of the signal close to the radar site, and so everything else looks like it's weaker. I don't think that's quite happening as of yet. Thus, there's still the potential for golf ball-sized hail in many of these thunderstorms as they continue to make their way on to the northeast. So still a very dangerous situation. We're kind of keeping our fingers crossed. Dean Jones is over here analyzing some of the newer data that's coming in. There are some initial indications that the likelihood of tornadic activity may have diminished a little bit, but that's all, just a little bit. We still have to be alert for that possibility. Melissa?
Merrill, thank you. Like we said, our team is out following this storm. Devin Fastbinder is following the flooding. She's live with the latest. Devin.
I'm here in northwest Wichita, Arkansas Road and 27th, and the flooding continues to rise here in this area. We've seen several cars just fly through. Some have been going a little more slowly. We're advising you not to do any of that at all. Rather, just stay out of this flooded area. We can see a car that's coming right now at this point, actually a large van, going fairly slowly, but again, we just want to advise you to not be flying through a lot of this flooding because it's happening a lot across the west side of the city. To give you kind of an idea, I'll flip this camera around and just show you exactly how deep this is. I'll step in it with my own rain boots, and it's considerably getting higher since I even started this. It started just above my ankles. Now it's probably risen 2 to 3 inches above my ankles, and I can walk across the entire road, and the entire road is flooded. This does not stop. There are some drains over in that area. That was a nice bit of thunder that you probably just heard there. The storm is not stopping at this point. The rain is letting up, but then it picks back up. We did have some hail in this area as well. So what I can advise at this point, if you're out in this storm, just stay away from the flooded areas. You don't want to end up with your car in the middle of the flooding. You don't want to be flying through some of this flooding and ruining your car or putting your life in danger.
All right, as it begins to lightning out there again, be careful out there. Rodney Price has been keeping up with our Storm Team 12 weather chasers. He is at our chaser desk with what they're seeing.
Well, Mike, we're continuing to watch not only the activity across the Wichita area, but certainly watching the activity that we have off to our south. Right now, Scott Roberts watching that storm in Sumner County. Did have a little bit of a lowering, has become a little less organized, though, in the last little bit. He's about 4 miles to the northwest of the Corbin area, and he's looking off to the south at this point. Now, Storm Team 12 chaser Lance Ferguson shot this video earlier today once again in Sumner County. Have a look at that video coming up here. Had a little bit of a funnel there with that part of the storm. Again, this has been a couple of hours ago, but that was the original storm that developed across parts of northern Oklahoma, moved into Sumner County, and then eventually what's causing some of the issues now across the Sedgwick County area. But there it was, a little bit of a funnel that showed up. We did have a brief tornado reported close to the Mayfield area, but otherwise, so far that tornadic potential has diminished just a bit, as Merrill has said. So that's welcome news, at least for the short term. Now, Lauren Seabrook has been following that storm from Sumner County. Lauren, tell us what you're seeing tonight.
Yeah, Rodney, we've been out here all afternoon. We are on Highway 160 right now, just on the west side of Wellington. We were out here earlier today and saw a lot of lowering, a lot of rotation. We moved to the north side of Wellington as that storm moved through. But the storm that is currently going on west of Wellington, north of Caldwell, that's the one we're taking a look at right now. Just within the last few minutes or so, we did see a pretty defined wall cloud. That has since gone back up, but we are seeing some inflow into this storm, and we are looking at some lowerings. We have not seen any funnels with this particular storm, but we are keeping an eye on it. And if we see any new developments, we'll bring it right back to you.
Lauren, thank you so much. Be safe out there. And we've seen hail across many counties in Kansas. Emily Griffin is near Clearwater. Emily, what have you seen out there?
Melissa, yeah, we got to the Clearwater area about half an hour ago because we heard reports of golf ball sized hail, and I'm going to show you kind of what we were talking about here. This is what we found. This has melted significantly, though, since we've gotten here. It was probably closer to the size of a golf ball when we arrived, but there are a couple of houses nearby, and I spoke to those residents, and they both tell me that they don't think that they've seen any damage around their homes because of that hail. Now, it's really just all dark and gray where we are. You can't really tell any defined clouds or any possible lowerings, but I do believe that we're in an area where that next round of storms is going to come through. Just in the past 5 minutes, it started raining here again, thundering pretty loudly. I've even seen a couple of lightning strikes maybe fairly close to where we are. So we're going to hang tight here in this area for a little while longer as we get ready for possibly another round to move through, which could bring more hail. So that's something that we'll be on the lookout for. And of course, as we get any new reports of anything happening or any reports of potential damage, we'll of course let you know.
Emily, thank you. And we've been tracking this storm as it's been moving north. Now in McPherson County, want to know what Pilar Pedraza is seeing there. Pilar.
Hi, yeah, we're moving actually south along I-135 from McPherson toward Peabody. We've been in McPherson throughout the afternoon because that was one of the areas that seemed to be in the path of where we thought the storm was going to be. Turns out the storm is a little bit farther south and east of where we were at, so we're headed in that direction. What we've been seeing throughout the day, though, even from where we were at McPherson, is increasing winds, dropping temperatures. We saw several cloud systems that kind of develop, look like they were trying to build into something and then fall apart where we were at, obviously not happening further south to east of us. Even in McPherson, even though they were hoping, and it seems to be happening, that the storm would be passing away from them and not hitting them there, they weren't taking any chances. They made plans as early as yesterday to deal with this storm. And one thing that happened was they let school out early, something that the interim emergency management director says she hasn't seen in 22 years.
All right, thanks, Pilar. We have gotten photos in from you showing us how you're prepared for the storm. Cindy Close is at the digital news set with how others in Wichita prepared. Cindy?
Well, Mike, one man took some extra precautions for this storm. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's take a look at some of the storm shots that have been coming in, and you can see just how big the hail has been today. This one from 119th and Pawnee in Wichita. This from Tim Ullman at Kellogg and Mays in Wichita. And now let's take a look at this. Dave Ewing says he started about 9 o'clock this morning protecting his truck. He says he has 8 layers of tarp on it. He also estimates he's wrapped it in about 50 to 60 bungee cords and a roll and a half of duct tape. This is not the first time he has protected his truck.
In the ice storms in January, how did that work? And then when the ice gets on it, you just peel it off and all the ice comes right off.
We've gotten a lot of storm shots from you, and we hope you will continue to send them in. And we're looking at a live shot as one of our crews is driving. This is Pilar as she is driving in McPherson. You can also follow Jacob Albrecht. He is live on Facebook. So if you want to get your news that way, you can join Jacob. And let's go to Ross.
And Cindy, we do have a flood warning to tell you about now for Sedgwick County, and this also does include Sumner County till 10 o'clock tonight. No big surprise with these storms tracking one right after the other, producing some tremendous rainfall. And we're talking about rainfall rates with some of these storms at some cases 2 to 3 inches per hour. And when it rains that heavy, it doesn't take very long for the rainfall and certainly the flooding to become more of a concern there. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for portions of Sumner County. Still some fairly intense storms that are looking there to the south of Conway Springs, and we'll show you what we have as far as the hail is concerned. This is a report that came in, and I believe this report coming in at 5:54, so just before the start of our newscast here. 1-inch hail reported near 20th and Caldwell Road near the Mayfield area, so there is that possibility that this storm is still producing at least quarter-size hail, and that's the one that's going to be moving up into southern Sedgwick County here momentarily. Clearwater, the rain getting heavier there, the hail not far behind. As we look at the Sedgwick County situation here, another big storm from Mays, kind of on the northwest part of the county, headed up towards Sedgwick. We've also got Valley Center kind of in the crosshairs of more large hail with the storm tracking there, and that one's going to be coming up into south central Harvey County. And if the storm continues on its current path, it's going to bring that hail core getting up closer to Newton and areas just to the east of there, so be prepared for large hail with that storm continuing on its northeasterly movement. We'll take a short break now. Eyewitness News at 6 continues with more storm coverage coming up next.
KWCH 12 News at 6, Kansas's #1 newscast. This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
Let's get another report from the roads. Rachel Skida has been tracking the storm. She is out in Wichita right now. Rachel, what's it like on the roads?
Well, we are heading north on Oliver right now. We're just about to take a right onto 1st Street. We are actually on our way to a submersion. You can probably see it right up ahead if our camera is rolling. I believe it is. It's that van that is stuck in the water up there. You can see that water is moving pretty quickly going south. We are actually going to jump off of the phone here real quick and try to talk to these people and see if they need any help. So I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right, we'll check back in with you a little bit later, Rachel. McConnell Air Force Base evacuated its tankers as a precaution. There they go. Dee Dee Sun was there as the tankers took off. She's live outside the base, or rather outside of our studios right now with where the tankers were sent.
Right. Well, Melissa, as you can see, we here at the station have tried to do what we can to protect our news cars, and we've moved them all into the garage here. McConnell, they moved what planes they could into the hangars, but for those tankers, they couldn't do that. And so what they had to do all day was aircraft evacuation.
It's a race against the storm.
It's been a little busy, a little anxious.
One after another, 19 KC-135 tanker planes are getting out of Mother Nature's way.
We've got, as the guys like to say, a lot of iron talking about the 135s out there. There's a lot of hopes that, you know, it wouldn't come this way, but, you know, we don't take any chances.
The purpose of these planes, refueling other aircraft mid-flight, and they cost $54 million apiece. The tankers are headed for either Fairchild, Washington State or Grand Forks in North Dakota. And there's a crew of at least 5 on each plane.
It is a tough decision to make. It's kind of daunting to say, okay, we're going to move $1 billion worth of assets to another part of the country. So yes, it is. Don't walk into it lightly, definitely.
The evacuation does provide another benefit.
We get vital training, great training out of this too. So it's not a loss at all for our resources to go off and do this. Our air crews get training, takeoffs and landings.
But the primary goal is safety.
That is today's mission, to keep these assets safe and take care of our people.
Depending on the weather, some of those tankers will come back to McConnell Air Force Base tomorrow, but others will continue on to other missions.
Dee Dee, thank you. We depend so much on you, the viewer, to send us some of these reports. Again, the big story right now, the hail that is widespread around the Wichita area. Let's send it back over to Cindy Close, who takes a look at some of your storm shots.
We have a couple here for you, Michael, and of course we want you to stay safe because it would really hurt to get hit by some of this hail, and you can see how big this is. This is from Kelsey near I-135 and Pawnee in Wichita. A couple of hailstones filling her hand. And this of flooding from North Bleckley in Wichita. This is an area that floods a lot when we get rain. This from Alyssa. Thank you for that. We'll take a break and be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Accident Recovery Team.
How strong is Allegra D?
My congestion's out of my way strong.
Allegra D, a fast, non-drowsy antihistamine plus a powerful decongestant that starts relieving your toughest symptoms in just 1 hour.
It's breathing free for 24 hours strong.
Allegra D.
The soil around your home is like a sponge. It absorbs water and expands when it's wet. It contracts when it's dry. For your foundation, these changes can be devastating, especially during very wet or very dry swings. Wall cracks, uneven floors, these are signs that a foundation problem is stealing value from your home. But there's a way to protect your investment. Call Kansas Basement and Foundation Repair. We can make your foundation rock solid, no matter what the soil does. So don't wait for the problems to get worse. Call us today.
Get your Storm Team 12 forecast every single day of the week on today's KFDI.
Good morning. How are you today?
I guess I'd like
No. This is not what we meant by welcome to Friendly. Come on, guys. Friendly means treating our members and their hard-earned money with respect. Not hugs and, well, maybe cookies.
So anyway, I'd like to open an account.
A home equity line of credit is a great way to borrow cash, and Credit Union of America offers some of the lowest rates in town. Call us today or apply online. Welcome to Friendly.
If left untreated, cholesterol can build up in your arteries and begin to reduce blood flow. When one of these blockages ruptures, it can lead to a heart attack or stroke. Zepic Cardiology has access to new cholesterol drugs and other therapies. These new drugs attack even hard-to-control cholesterol. If traditional drugs have failed to control your cholesterol, learn about these new options available now at Zepic Cardiology. Call and schedule your appointment today and take care of your heart health. Zepic Cardiology.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
And we still have severe weather in the area this evening. Right now, severe thunderstorm warnings continue across the city of Wichita, including Sedgwick County, and those warnings extend up into southern Harvey County. You see the storms are pushing to the northeast at roughly 30 miles per hour. We've had some 2-inch hail reported today. That appears to be the largest hailstone reported out of Sedgwick County. One of those reports came from the Douglas and Hillside area. We'll bring you up to the current time. You can see the core of this thunderstorm now from basically northwest Wichita up toward Mays. Looks like Valley Center seeing a pretty good storm now off to the west of KWCH and Park City. So this continuing to be a dangerous storm, and the severe thunderstorm warning does continue for several more minutes, anticipating that there will be some large hail falling out of that. We're not completely done yet, because as we look back to the southwest, as we've been telling you through the evening, there's additional thunderstorms firing up, stretching down across Sumner County all the way back into northern sections of Oklahoma. And if we let you see the radar in motion here, all of that moving to the north. So we are concerned about flooding. That's going to become a problem here with more storms coming in from the southwest. By the way, what's popping up here on the Kingman-Harper County line, that would just be some false echoes being indicated by the radar. No reason to be concerned about anything there for right now. Looks like there is a new warning that's being issued down into parts of Oklahoma, so we'll take the radar and go back in that direction, because this is just part of an expansive line of storms stretching across the area this evening. You see additional storms redeveloping there to the south and west of Alva, Oklahoma. So these storms here to the south and east of Anthony right now don't appear to be severe storms, but I would expect at least dime-size hail there. We do continue with a warning for Sumner County, and the warning stretches up into portions of Sedgwick County too. In fact, much of Wichita, the city of Wichita, included in a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, just a few minutes ago, there was a warning in effect for Marion County, portions of Harvey County too. That was canceled as the storms look like they're just below severe criteria. But as we watch the radar loop here over the last hour, we continue with north-moving storms, potentially producing some hail up to nickel size there to the south of Marion, down toward the Peabody area, right along and just to the south of Highway 50. And then we'll take the radar and we'll go up just a little bit farther to the northeast. Big storms continue to move their way toward Topeka. Very heavy rainfall, and certainly the possibility that we might be still getting some small hail there. And our last stop on the radar, we're going to take a look at some scattered storms north of Salina. There is a severe thunderstorm warning now for Jewell County. Big storms are blowing up around Mankato, moving to the north, and it looks like we've had some hail reported there. So let's bring that information up here just to the south of Mankato. We did get a report there this morning till 6:45. Looks like the hailstones are probably just a little bit larger than 1 inch in diameter. That again to the south of the Mankato area. We've got some hail video if we can show that this is from Seneca and 31st Street. The hail coming down quite heavily earlier today. You can see it making some pretty big splashes there in the water that was collecting on the streets. So that's the situation for now. We've got severe weather continuing across south central Kansas. We're going to take a short break now. Eyewitness News at 6 will continue right after this.
We know you can't always be at your television, in front of your television when things happen, so we have another way to bring you the information. Jacob Albrecht is on Facebook Live, broadcasting everything today.
Yeah, Cindy, so, you know, a lot of people even from outside the area that have family in the area look at that. Right now, it's close to about 500 people, I think, with us on this Facebook Live, and we're delayed here. But this is a cool new feature that we have to kind of walk people around. We've been in the Weather Center talking to those guys, in the newsroom as reporters are reporting into the desk, and they're getting sent places. So, and quite frankly, a lot of the best information comes from the comments within this video feed. We've had good hail reports. We've known where to send our people based on that stuff.
So people will see this in their feed if they follow KWCH, or you could go to our Facebook page and look for us there. But they can also ask you questions, not just send us information.
We're answering questions as best we can. Now, a lot of people have asked very specific town questions. That gets difficult to do, but if you are in any danger, we can let you know there. And if anything happened to your signal, that would be another way to do it. If you subscribe on there, if you look at this thing and subscribe, if we lost signal or something, it would jump right back to the top of your Facebook feed. Okay. So that's one way to make sure we stay connected, even if the signal goes out.
All right, about 500 people are on right now, and you can follow Jacob for the rest of the evening. Let's go to Ross.
And live pictures now coming out of Sumner County. Lauren Seabrook, just part of our crews out there. This is just to the northwest of Wellington, and about literally just a minute or two ago, we were able to see a little bit of what looked like a wall cloud. She's probably some distance from the storm, which is why we're not able to see some of the finer details of what's showing up here. But we could at least pick out a little bit of a wall cloud feature there, but I'm just not seeing it there. She's probably so far away from it now that we're just not able to see that any longer. But we will be checking in to see if we get any additional reports from that area, just checking some information coming in here. Some quarters to $half size hail reported with that storm down in Sumner County. So it's still a pretty intense thunderstorm, and definitely one that we'll continue to follow. Back over to the radar as we set everything up here for you. Again, watching storms up here in north central Kansas real quick. We'll get back to south central Kansas, where we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 6:45 for Sedgwick County, and this big batch of storms continuing all the way down into northern Oklahoma. Short break now. We'll be right back after this. We got a report of some 2-inch hail now, or make that some $half size hail 2 miles east of Conway Springs. That's the storm down in this area coming up from parts of Sumner County. That's moving into the southern part of Sedgwick County. Now the warning for Sedgwick County goes until 6:45, but with the magnitude of this storm looking the way that it does now, just to the east of Viola, it looks like that warning may be pushed a little bit deeper into the evening, because that still looks like a fairly intense thunderstorm with some larger hail. So let's zoom back into that storm as we look at it just a little bit closer. Some large hail being the primary threat here from just south of Wichita down toward the Schulte area, just to the east of Viola, and 2 miles east of Conway Springs. Once again, we had that report of some $half size hail reported there. That storm moving to the northeast, just one of many storms that we continue to follow here as we work our way into Tuesday evening. The good news, the threat for tornadoes seems to be a little bit lower than it was a couple hours ago, but additional storms continue to fire up and produce the potential of large hail. In fact, as we get up to this storm now, into portions of Chase County, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for a storm that's just to the south, or in fact right on top of Elmdale. And now I see they are issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Morris County, and it does include Council Grove. So storms around Chase County also moving to the northeast. There is that potential of seeing additional hail produced out of these thunderstorms. Just a small sample of what we might be looking at there as far as hail is concerned. I would venture to say at least quarter size with that storm there to the south and east of the Elmdale area. But once again, moving northeast, we've had hailstones today up around 2 inches in diameter. And while that's a possibility with this storm here in Chase County, at least based on the radar returns that we have, I would expect that it's probably at least smaller than that. And that's certainly some good news there. We'll expand the view and show you how things look from a regional view. You can see there are some scattered storms popping up east of Salina, but this is by far the biggest line of storms that we have out there, producing flooding rainfall, large hail. We might be looking at a wind threat a little later into the evening, but we will continue to monitor the situation there. Chelsea, say that again to me. Okay, let's check back in again with Mike and Melissa standing by with additional information.
All right, thank you, Ross. You see the radar there. We're going to get a few breaks here and there. Yeah. It's tempting to go out and drive around in these just to check out the damage, but be careful when you're out there today.
Our reporters out there are advising you not do it right now. Devin Fastbinder has been out watching some of that street flooding right now. And Devin, just a little bit ago, we saw your boots covered up in water. What can you tell us now?
I'm sorry, Melissa, what did you just say? I couldn't hear quite everything
you said. What can you tell us now about how deep that water is out there? It still looks pretty deep.
Yeah, those levels are continuing to rise, not super quickly because the rain has gotten a little bit lighter, but they're definitely increasing. You can take a look. I'll take a step in this to see how deep it is, and it's pretty much where it's been. It's a few inches above my ankles, and this is up near the curb. And so there have been plenty of vehicles that have been driving around in this area, some going faster than others. We're really going to encourage you to not go through these flooded areas. There's been some cars who, even though they were taking it slow, still seem to have a little bit of an issue. Oh, now the rain's picking back up. You can see how much the storm is changing. I spoke with a woman who lives at that apartment complex right there. She has told me that this is something that is very annoying, but this is not something that is new.
All right, thank you. Let's take another look at some of the storm shots. You keep sending them. Again, the big story today is the hail around the Wichita area. Let's send it back over to Cindy Close.
And look at this hail that came in near 13th and Woodlawn. It covers the whole deck. Thanks to Mariah for that picture. Let's move on to a couple more that have come in to us. Are you switching? Okay, you are. Emily Griffin, our reporter who's out there, sent us this, and this is, looks like egg-sized hail down near Clearwater. This from Sampson 244 and showing the hail compared to a fist. You can't believe the number of hail pictures that we've gotten. And this picture I wanted to share. This came in via email, and let's see if I can, made it too big, but these are dogs. There's 4 of them, and it doesn't show very well in this vertical monitor, but they all have their thunder jackets in, and the caption was, "These dogs are ready for the storm." Back to you, Melissa.
All right, Cindy, thank you so much. And last time we checked in with Lauren Seabrook, she was near Wellington. We want to go back to her now with what she's seeing out there. Lauren.
Yeah, Melissa, we're in the same spot still. We are on Highway 160 looking northwest of Wellington at this time. And just in the last few minutes, we did have a lowering out here. It has since dissipated, but this large storm that is out west of Wellington has really had multiple lowerings. They will come down for a short, brief time and then back up. Just about 5 minutes ago, though, we were seeing the rotation in this area intensify, but like I said, as we know in Kansas, things can change in a matter of moments, and it has since dissipated. We are seeing some of the lightning pick up a little bit out here, but we will keep an eye on this storm, and if anything changes, we'll bring it right back out here live.
With those storms north of Conway Springs and near Clearwater. Wouldn't be surprised. In fact, they're doing that now, issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning, and this is going to go until 7:45, basically for the same areas of Sedgwick County. It clips the southern edge of Harvey County because we expect that hail to continue to move to the north, and so we'll continue to watch for the potential there. Just really quick, I want to show you what we've got developing back to the south, because throughout the evening we've been talking about additional storms developing, potentially moving our way, and we're still seeing that here. We've still got severe thunderstorm warnings for portions of Alfalfa and Grant County. You can see back into the Woods County too, some stronger thunderstorms continuing to move to the north. Another one northeast of Medford. That storm doesn't look to be severe right now, but we'll certainly keep a close watch on it. And as we go back to the northeast, you can see strong thunderstorms moving through Marion County. There is not a warning in effect for Marion County, so good news there, but we do have Chase County and eastern sections of Morris County under a severe thunderstorm warning, anticipating the potential for some larger hail. Other scattered showers are now just starting to develop east of Salina and eastern sections of Ottawa County. Those storms are a far cry from anything that would be severe. But up into north central Kansas we go, and new storms have been festering now over portions of Jewell County. Some pretty strong thunderstorms there that would be just to the south and east well, be very close to the Jewel area. So as we go in just a little bit tighter there on Republic County, you can see we are dealing with some strong thunderstorms, large hail producing storms here near the town of Jewel and just to the south and east of the Mankato area. Everything here in Jewel County continuing to move to the north. And there is a warning in effect for northwestern Republic County, anticipating some hail there, but that's what we're looking at for right now. What are we expecting as we head through the remainder of the evening? Well, we'll go back to a statewide view of the radar so you can see how things look across Kansas. There will be some rain coming into the west later tonight. Those will be non-severe storms, but this is our big batch of storms from northern Oklahoma, south central Kansas, all the way into the northeastern part of the state. And as we bring on our future track radar so you can see what we anticipate going through the rest of the evening and into the overnight, the model data loading up here, you can continue to see all the heavy rain basically focused over the areas that are seeing it right now. What shows up in western Kansas later tonight, those will likely be heavy rainfall producers, but we're not anticipating severe storms as you get back through Hays and portions of northwest Kansas. So still expecting several more hours of severe storms. Right now, no tornado warnings in effect. We're dealing with some hail producing storms, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on as we go through the next several hours. Real quick, switch back over to the radar so you can see how things look across Kansas. These are the strong to severe thunderstorms right now from northern Oklahoma, south central Kansas into the eastern part of the state. And then we have those isolated storms up here in northern Kansas moving to the north, also producing some larger hail near the town of Jewel. The warning for Sedgwick County now pushed a little deeper into the evening till 7:45. It does include Sedgwick and southern sections of Harvey County. That warning will continue for the possibility of more hail, which could be up to 2 inches in diameter. But for right now, the most recent report of hail from the Sedgwick County area looks like it will continue till 7:45, and we have at least had one report recently of some half-dollar size hail reported near Clearwater. We're going to break away from our continuous coverage here on KWCH 12. We will continue on 12.2, and as need be, we'll be providing updates through the rest of the evening, so stay with us as we work our way through this Tuesday evening.